The sun's shining here at Trent Bridge, blue skies, good crowd in, and we're all set for the first T20 between England's women and India. This really the first big test for Charlotte Edwards and Nat Sciver-Brunt's leadership after a clean sweep earlier on this year in the series against West Indies. 3 ODIs, 3 T20s, every single match won. In fact, across England's men's and women's sides, 14 matches played, 14 matches won so far this summer. So everything's going very well indeed for the England sides. And as we look out to the middle, it is quite the scene in front of us. It's going to be unquestionably the warmest game that we've seen so far this year for England's women, up against an India side who do provide much sterner tests than what we saw earlier on in the year in that series between England and West Indies. Full commentary here on 5 Live and Sports Extra 2 over the course of the next few hours from here in the East Midlands. We'll have Melissa Story, part of our team, as well as 2 World Cup winners alongside me. Very pleased to say Alex Hartley, World Cup winner with England in 2017, and a multiple Ashes and World Cup winner in Catherine Sciver-Brunt as well. Very nice to see you both. First things first, Alex, and before we get the news from the toss, this is going to be a sterner test for England.
Absolutely, it will be a much bigger test than the West Indies series. The West Indies series was almost a little bit too easy for England, but actually a really good way to get back into international cricket after the Women's Ashes. So England were dominant throughout that series. You would expect this series to be a lot harder. India, 3rd best team in the world, England, 2nd best team in the world. So I'm expecting a closer contest.
Well, Catherine, Nat will know this is going to be a bigger test, and she will be very aware that eyes are going to be firmly looking at this series in terms of the wider context and the build-up of the World Cup that's to come later on in the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it might even be a shock to the system for some people. So it's literally going to be like chalk and cheese. I think obviously the side that the West Indies brought over was probably their 3rd team. Al, you'd probably agree. It's like, you know, without Hayley, you're not really getting much practice. They get that false sense of security where they can play freely. When this happens, already, before they've even started this game, they're already a step backwards because, you know, there's that anxiety, there's that fear that you're going to get shown up, or, you know, you've got to be on your best from the off, especially on a Trent Bridge wicket like this. So from just the box here, it looks flat as a pancake. So, it's going to definitely be a bit of a shock to the system. But I hope that we have a brilliant game, because that's what it's meant to be, 2v3.
It should be, and it should be a brilliant series as well. 5 T20s, 3 one-day internationals, all building up towards that 50-over World Cup later on in the year. It is warm out there, I can guarantee that, and the toss took place around about 20 minutes or so ago. I was out there with the 2 captains. England won the toss, and Nat Sciver-Brunt explained the decision to have a bowl first.
It looks a good wicket, and I guess we like to chase. We've got a great pace bowling attack as well, which we're hoping to make good use of that.
Sophie Ecclestone's back in the squad. What does that bring you?
Well, obviously, the number 1 bowler in the world, I guess. It's just huge experience back in the team, and someone perfect to learn off for everybody.
This is going to be a tougher challenge than what we saw earlier in the summer. What are you expecting from India?
I guess having seen quite a lot of them play over the last few years, some great power, some great nous with the ball as well. But I think on the whole it's a bigger challenge for us, which will be really exciting. What can you tell us about the makeup of your side today? We have 3 out-and-out fast bowlers, then we've got 2 left-arm spinners and some batters. And so so Tammy is coming to the 11.
And so no Charlie Dean in the side?
No Charlie Dean in the side.
Okay. Go well today, Nat. Thank you very much indeed. And Smriti Mandana, India captain today, comes over and joins me. Well, you're captain today, first and foremost. What can you tell us about Harmanpreet Kaur's fitness?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately she suffered a head injury in the last match, but yeah, she's been monitored. Hopefully she'll be fine soon.
Can you tell us about the makeup of your side today?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, because of Harman missing out, Harleen comes in, and we are going with 4 spinners and 2 pacers today. Would you like to have had a bowl first as well? Yeah, we would have loved to field first today as well, but I mean, Trent Bridge, you just have to bat well and bowl well, so the toss wouldn't matter that much.
You're very familiar with playing in England. How important do you think your role is for this side as one of the senior members of the squad?
I mean, yeah, it's of course. I mean, wouldn't knowing the conditions, it's important to use the experience and of course give the knowledge to other girls as well. A few of them are touring UK for the first time, so I mean, yeah, in that terms, and also to score runs when you have played here before. So I mean, that's going to be really important.
And just finally, lots of India spectators here. They're going to enjoy following your side, home from home.
Yeah, I mean, with Indian fans, one thing is for sure, wherever we travel, be it India or outside India, we always feel home, which is great. So hopefully they keep coming out in huge number for us.
Well, that was the two captains speaking to me a short time ago out in the middle. Nat Sivabrant of England and also India Smriti Mandana, captaining the side today in place of Harmanpreet Kaur, who is missing through injuries. So, Alex Hartley, the first thing to ask is the return of Sophie Ecclestone, and it has been a big story. It has been one of those things that we've been keeping quite an eye on over the course of the last few months. Turbulent winter. She missed out on the series against West Indies through injury, but she's back in the squad.
Yeah, she's fit and ready to go, isn't she? You know, so I mean, you can't not pick her. She is one of the best bowlers in the world. I feel for her because it's all come at once for Ecclestone. Actually, you know, she's taken that mental health break from cricket 3 weeks ago. She's been knocked off as the world #1 bowler for the first time in about 5 or 6 years. She's no longer that. She's not going back to Sydney Sixers. She didn't get picked for England because she was injured, but she's back. So things can only get better for Ecclestone. But look, any time she's in a team, the team is elevated. The team is better. She's a brilliant left arm spinner, and I love the fact that they've gone with Ecclestone and Lindsay Smith together, because there was a lot of talk on, is Lindsay Smith only here while Ecclestone's not playing? Well, actually no. Lindsay Smith is there out of merit, off her own back. She's a good enough bowler, and she proved that against the West Indies. Proved she's good enough to play. It's unfortunate that someone's got to miss out, and it's got to be the off spinner of Charlie Dean, but I love the fact that they're playing together.
And they've got depth, England, Catherine, clearly, because we are seeing options, and that is the point. They've gone with the extra seamer. They've gone with the the conditions, as opposed to almost a side that picked itself for quite a while. This feels like a team picked for the occasion almost. Yeah,
I think they're confident that this pitch is good enough for a great game of cricket, but mainly run scoring. So I think they think that they can go with that extra that extra bowler, because they don't need to utilise the batting lineup. So in this game, they're thinking to lose more than 4 or 5 wickets is probably, the reality is it's not going to happen. So they're very confident with that, and I love that. Obviously, Lindsay Smith has worked her butt off, got in, into this team that she should never not be able to get into, and it's just because of the quality of Sophie Ecclestone. But she's been rewarded from the previous series, because she was probably thinking, okay, I can't do anything else. I've got a 5 for. I've been one of the best bowlers on this trip by a long way, and then I'm just going to lose my space now because Sophie's back. But no, here she is, and it's brilliant. It's like Lottie's giving her confidence, and also giving the message that you're still here, you're still in amongst it. This is actually a showcase for both of you today. I'm neither one way or the other. Obviously, everybody, if you did a poll, it would be 99% say Sophie Ecclestone. So she's here to, test that and then sort of just makes it up. Like you said, it's not the decade-old team in here. This is very different, and it probably will look like that again every game.
Yeah, and that's what makes this a fascinating series, because England have got to find the combinations that work. That's what Charlotte Edwards told us on 5 Live Sport earlier on today. What about that England side then? Sophia Dunkley at the top of the order alongside Danny Wyatt-Hodge. Then it's the captain Nat Sivabrant. Tammy Beaumont, who missed T20 cricket for England for a long time, is batting at 4. Amy Jones scored back-to-back hundreds in the ODIs against West Indies. She keeps wicket. Alice Capsey, Em Arlott, Sophie Ecclestone is back, Lauren Filer, Lindsay Smith and Lauren Bell. So that is the England lineup. And as for India, well, Smriti Mandana, top of the order, is outstanding and going to, without question, be one of the standout wickets that England will be looking to take. Shafali Verma missed out on selection for a little while after a disappointing T20 World Cup. She's still only 20, but this is her 3rd tour to England. Very dangerous player opening the batting. Harleen Dool, Jemima Rodrigues, Amanjot Kaur, Rika Ghosh keeps wicket. Deepti Sharma, who was involved in a run out at the non-striker's end. which caused a fair bit of controversy at Lords a couple of years ago. Radha Yadav, Arundhati Reddy, Sneh Rana, the off spinner, and a debut for Sri Charani. So it is an India side that will be of a different calibre entirely to what we saw from that West Indies team. I don't think we can necessarily expect the clean sweep that we saw against West Indies, Alex. It's going to be a very different state of affairs.
Yeah, I'll be very surprised if it is a clean sweep. I still think England are probably the better team. There's a lot of inexperience around that India squad, that India starting 11. However, you just know that they pluck players out of nowhere now they've got the WPL. There's constantly a, what do you call it? Like, not a stream. I want to say like a cartwheel of people. It's not. It's like a treadmill. Do you know what? Do you know what carousel?
It's you're nearly there. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's like a carousel of people just waiting. One jumps off, another one goes on. It's like the big wheel. It's just constantly going round and round and round. Give someone a game or two, and then someone else will come in. But they're all deserving of playing cricket for India. I'm not saying they're just picking players out of nowhere. I'm just saying they've got a wealth of options.
A production line.
I think that
we got that.
Yeah.
Okay, right. We'll go with that. One thing that caught my eye was that they played warm-up matches here, India, but they lost both their games against the ECB Development 11, and that's a little bit telling.
Yeah, something on that, because that always makes me laugh, because don't pay any attention to that, because what happened was, this happened to, I think, 2017 World Cup. We had some prep, and we were absolutely smashing teams like Windies, India. First game at Derby, absolutely smashed us, and it was like, whoa. And that's, so it wasn't just opening game, this is what's happening, like it's a fair contested game. We were smashed, but we just smashed them. So it was like, what?
Yeah.
What's happening? It's like they were pretending or saving the best for now. Trust me that people like Harmanpreet Kaur will bring her best out when it matters. Trust me. He's one of those players, and that they've got multiple people in that lineup that play like that. They save it for the occasion.
Also, warm-up games are like time on feet. Get yourselves a few overs in. There are obviously a few players that will be playing for selection, but most of them know it. Most of the team know if they're playing or not, and it's almost like, okay, just have a little run out. So warm-up games are almost like always take them with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, well, that is worth keeping an eye on.
But they were smashed, correct, Henry?
Yes, and Harmanpreet Kaur was injured in one of those games. That's why she's missing today. Precautionary measure, that's the word for the BCCI. So here come the umpires. Jackie Williams of West Indies, James Middlebrook as well. England in the red jerseys and the blue bottoms head out towards the middle with a side with some familiar names, but some names that haven't had huge opportunities in T20 cricket in recent times. Tammy Beaumont's only played the 5 T20s across the last 3 years, which is a long break. Shafali Verma, by the way, sprinting out between those two red long sort of pillars that provide the flames that are firing up here at Trent Bridge to warm a day that requires no additional heat, it has to be said, and a good crowd in as well, around about 7,000 sold ahead of time. Plenty of people that have walked up as well.
Do you know what that's just reminded me of? Shafali Verma running out, flames going up, Catherine Silverbrun steaming in, getting hit for 4, giving her a send-off. It was ultimate cricket, that, wasn't it?
It was.
That doesn't sound like you, Catherine.
It was fun.
It was so much
very
fun
mentally
to watch.
challenging for myself, but fun.
Right, I'm getting out of the way, as is Catherine. Melissa Story is going to take up commentary in just a moment. Before that, though, the players are going to have a moment's reflection. This is the first time that the India women's side have played since the tragic air accident in Ahmedabad a couple of weeks ago. So there will be a brief moment as the players with the black armbands on as well will take the opportunity just to have a pause and reflect. Plenty of India spectators and supporters here as well.
Thank you.
Well, there we go. pretty much perfectly observed here at Trent Bridge in the East Midlands. More spectators coming in all the time. The first T20 between England's women and India, first of 5, 3 ODIs to follow that as well. The conditions could not be any better. England winning the toss, bowling first. Our opening partnership here on Test Match Special on 5 Live Sport and Sports Extra 2. Alex Hartley, World Cup winner, and also Melissa Story.
Thank you, Henry. Lauren Bell with the new ball in hand as we see the countdown on the big screens here at Trent Bridge, ready for this first T20 between England and India. Shafali Verma will face the first ball for India. Lauren Bell with a deep point in the deep square, those two fielders on the boundary, over the wicket, full toss, swinging into the pads and driven to mid-off where there is a fumble, allowing India through for a single.
That's a welcome back to international cricket if I've ever seen one before, isn't it? Straight to Sophie Eccleston, and it doesn't quite go as smoothly as she probably would have liked.
It's one of those ones as well where she was probably going, if I can just get a hand to the ball, I'm settled back in.
Oh, it went through her legs.
Just a few changes to the field now as the left-handed Smriti Mandana is on strike. Left-hander keeps the same field of that deep square just in front and backward point. 2 gullies in, swinging in, driven past mid-off and away for 4 runs. It races away on this outfield here in Nottingham. We've had dry weather, expecting it to be quick, and that's exactly what you'd expect from Smriti Mandana. Score 5 for none.
Tell you what, pure class from the standing captain Mandana. It's a lovely delivery from Lauren Bell to the left-hander. Late swing in towards Mandana. She stands still, plays the ball straight back down the ground with a lovely bat face. Lovely start for India.
It's pretty sunny conditions here at Trent Bridge. Not much cloud cover, although you do often see the ball move around a bit at the start as Bell charges in to Mandana, drives, this time without as good a timing, to the right of mid-off. It will be a dot ball. Just dragged back her length there slightly on that occasion, Lauren Bell, who's been so impressive with the new ball up front. Really made a name for herself.
Great strike rate at the minute, Lauren Bell. She had that difficult period a couple of summers ago where she couldn't quite get things right, but she done the hard yards and she's back firing.
Runs in to Mandana, full, driven, burst through the hands of extra cover but backed up by mid-off, allows India through for a single. Verma running to the danger end there. It's the throw return to Amy Jones behind the stump. 6 without loss, India. Just a few nerves early on from England in the field. You can see a few of the surfaces and the pitches here at Trent Bridge. They've been used in recent games for Nottinghamshire and the Blaze, where you can imagine as a fielder in the ring, if it hits the wrong spot, it might just bobble away from you. See a few of the England players with those tubey grips over their elbows to prevent picking up some damage.
I was always a long sleeve girl for that exact reason. Bell
into Verma, shorter ball, which he swats to mid-wicket. A tumbling roll there from Nat Sivabrunt. Darts the ball back into the keeper. And good intensity there from England, that ball. Verma just couldn't find that gap there between mid-wicket and mid-on. Now immediately takes her gloves off and reties her shoelaces. 1 over into the game.
Just probably settling her own nerves there, Verma. The ball comes back at her. She's had to get out of the way of it. It's one of those where it'll just get your ticker going a little bit. Brilliant wicket keeping from Amy Jones.
And there was a bit of a glare there towards Nat Sivabrunt. You return that throw in. Bell, final ball of this over. Full driven back into the stumps. Bell ends up on the floor. Verma, who was just creeping out of her crease, rocks her head back in disappointment. Always so frustrating as a batter to absolutely nail that one, and the stumps get in the way. But the first over complete, 6 without loss, India.
Well, she's absolutely crunched that as Shafali Verma. Back down the ground, perfect timing. It hits probably a quarter of the way up the stump on the full and ends up going to extra cover for none.
Wow. You could see umpire there, Jackie Williams, jumping out of the way of that one as well. Always worry as an umpire about those kind of deflections.
Now I'm going to get it out the way. I always get Jackie's second name wrong. So if I do, I apologise. But I always want to call her Jackie Wilson. But it's Williams.
It's Williams. It's not the beloved childhood author.
No, and it's not Williamson. It's Williams. But when I say Jackie Wilson later, just let it slide, everybody, please. I am trying. I just get muddled. I read a lot of books, you see. Do a lot of umpiring. Easy mistake to make.
The Jacqueline Wilson books, some of the ones you're reading, or?
Oh, I don't know what they are.
They're really depressing, actually, some of them. Really depressing.
I thought she was a kid's author.
Oh, yeah, she is. As in comes M. Arlett then with the new ball from the other end, driven towards extra cover, collected on the bounce, and high fives all round for the England fielders. Good intensity, as we know, mentioned this outfield will be quick, so making sure that in this power play, when England can only have those two fielders outside the ring, they're really getting down, cutting off those boundaries. Deep point and deep square, the two on the boundary as Arlett bowls full and driven nicely again by Mandano, who will pick up another 4 down the ground. Pure timing. And England's mid-off. There you go, retrieve the ball from the boundary again. She just hits it so nicely, so straight. Not much Em Arlett can do about that one.
Well, she's one of those players where if you go too full, she will punish you. It's a half volley from Em Arlett, and she just crunches it so nicely back down the ground. She very, very rarely misses out on those. You almost want to go back of a length, get her playing. That's why there's a slip and a gully.
Arlett this time outside the off stump, and she's just got a bit of bat on it. Top edges over the gully and down to the boundary for another 4. So Mandana moves on to 13 off just 6 balls. India 14 without loss in the second.
So somewhere between those two lengths for Em Arlett would be the perfect one. You want to be hitting the splice of her bat. It's too easy, that one from Smitty Mandana, short and wide. She doesn't even need to hit it. She just guides it up and over Natseva Brunt at gully. You want her almost trying to drive the ball, but it's not quite there.
As you say, it wasn't entirely controlled, but all she needed to do was get enough bat on it. And with those two fielders at deep point and deep square, it is that hard length of bowling that heavy ball. Em Arlett is a tall bowler. Same to Lauren Bell at the other end. She charges in now to the left-handed Mandana, who pulls in the air. Fielders running backwards, and it almost lands on Alice Capsey's head there. It was Sophie Eccleston and Alice Capsey. Eccleston at mid-on, just running round to her left. Capsey backpedaling there. And the ball just landed almost in between them, almost on Capsey's head.
I'm not really sure, to be completely honest, what's happened there. Capsey running towards the ring, over her shoulder, looks at Eccleston, loses track of the ball, takes her eye off the ball, and it bounces by her left shoulder.
It's one of those ones that when you're taught about taking those catches where you're having to run backwards, they say to stay side on, so you can always have an eye on the ball. But Capsey just turning her back entirely on that one, not knowing where the ball was, and it's a chance gone missing for England as this one. Better length from Arlett, stabbed into the onside by Verma, finds mid-wicket, no run. 15 without loss, India.
I think she was distracted by Eccleston there, to be completely honest, because she looks at Eccleston and then hears the ball drop past her ear, and she's like almost like, whoa, 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 where's that? Eccleston picks it up and throws it into the keeper.
I always wonder if because Eccleston was running around behind her, she thought the ball was actually travelling a bit further as well. As Arlett bowls to an advancing Verma, plays it off her hip into the onside. Direct hit from the fielder, but Mandana gets back safely. Single to the total. 16 without loss after 2 then. India after England. They won the toss and elected to bowl first. So we're going to put that one down as a chance.
Yeah, I've got 3 misfields so far today, and that's one of them. I'm keeping a little tally. Sometimes England can be quite sloppy, and sometimes they can be world class.
Do you think it takes them sometimes that bit of time to warm up into a series? Of course, some players have been playing domestic cricket, but overall, most of these players, in between now and that West Indies series, have had a bit of a break.
Oh, they've all been playing. They've played. You know, there's been the T20 Blast. There's quite a lot of them have played in that. So I don't know what it is. Nerves. Playing against India is a different game. You know, the crowd behind India, sometimes you feel like you're in England, sometimes you feel like you're in India. They're just a better team. They put more pressure on you. I mean, already we've had a more exciting start to this game than we had in any of the others.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be entertaining, this series. You mentioned at the start of the programme, the world number 2 side and number 3 side up against one another. And a change of bowling for England as Lauren Filer runs away from us now to Shafali Verma, who steps away, cuts the ball towards point, and in a manner we've almost grown used to with Lauren Filer, she's ended up on the floor after bowling her first ball and promptly goes and scratches up that crease line.
It almost makes you think, just scratch it before you bowl, doll, doesn't it? Like,
I think if anything it's probably part of the routine. She's got to end up on the floor after the first ball.
Honestly, I feel for her. She must be battered and bruised. Her knees, her hips must just be so sore because those wickets are like absolute concrete.
When that series against the West Indies, she did have protection on her elbows almost, but doesn't today. As bowl's full. This is hammered past a diving Eccleston, away for 4 runs, and Verma, she finds her first boundary. India 20 without loss now. It was quick from Filer, but it was full and there to be driven.
Yeah, the margin for error today, every time England have gone full, it's been driven back down the ground. This one, a little bit of a misfield from Sophie Eccleston at mid-off, to be completely honest. Maybe she was slightly too wide. Full length dive, just goes past their arm.
So far, beaten on the inside for all of those shots down the ground. As a shorter ball takes the edge of the bat and the finger goes up. Verma didn't look convinced there. Amy Jones, she was jumping up and down. There's going to be a conversation had here between Shafali Verma and Smriti Mandana. Verma's tapping her helmet as if to say, it's come off that, and that's when the catch was taken. Of course, it'll be interesting to see, is there not the rule that if it hits the helmet then it's automatically a dead ball?
Ooh. Interesting. Well, they've not run or anything anyway, so. But it'll be interesting to see if there is bat and then helmet. But I think from Shafali Verma, she's saying it hit her helmet. England are convinced she's nicked it.
Let's go here. So it was a shorter ball, well directed.
Off her helmet, I think.
It's very close to the ball in the bat, and she certainly wasn't playing it in a comfortable position. We have ultra edge here now as the ball passes the bat. Nothing on ultra edge, and then as the ball passes the helmet, we get a spike. So in the end, a good review there from Shafali Verma. If anything, it shows the speed that Lauren Filer is bowling, that she wasn't aware of what part of her body it hit. She just knew it hit something. She didn't get in a good position to play the shot at all, but it looks certainly like she'll be surviving this one.
Well, a weaker, when you look at Shafali Verma and you think, where's her weakness? It is that short ball, and I think what we'll see is that we'll see Emala and Lauren Filer bowl that short ball to her because she's such a positive player. She's always going to take it on. She looks to hook the ball, but she cramps herself. She takes her eyes off it, which is why she goes underneath the ball. It hits her helmet. She's not leaving it at all. But a poor decision from Jacqueline.
You've got this.
Williams.
Oh,
it's going to be a long old series.
I really hope that Jackie Williams doesn't listen back to this and just think, what has Alex Hartley got against me? Why is my name so forgettable?
She's not forgettable. I think she's so memorable that I forget.
Well, we had a fantastic time with her in the Commonwealth Games, didn't we?
Yeah.
I firmly believe she's one of the most thorough umpires in the game.
Me too.
Takes her time to make the right decision.
She doesn't. She took her time there. Wrong decision, but she took her time there. The finger didn't go up for a long time, and then up it went. Not out.
Now, of course, that did make contact with the helmet, so the India physio just coming out to the middle now and doing a bit of a check on Shafali Verma's helmet, making sure she doesn't have any signs of concussion. We can see Lauren Filer and Sophie Eccleston just having a chat there at mid-off, potentially talking about that effective use of the
No, they're not
shorter ball.
They're not talking cricket. They're absolutely not talking cricket. They're leaning on each other going, where do you want to go for tea? What do you want for dinner?
Where's the best places to go in Nottingham?
And then Filer will have gone, it's nice to have you back, mate. Yeah. I've missed you. I reckon that's been the chat there.
Did you script that? That was lovely.
Not seen you for a while now.
So here comes Filer then. Bowling to Verma outside the off stump, guided to point. It was stopped on the bounce but deflected off the fielder, allowing India through for a single. Score moves to 20 without loss.
Yeah, brilliant bit of fielding from Danny Wyatt-Hodge. It was wide outside the off stump. The timing from Shefali Verma there to backward point. She almost timed it too well and hit it straight to Wyatt-Hodge, but it went on the bounce.
Filer in again now to Verma. Fuller plays that same shot, this time fielded cleanly by Danny Wyatt-Hodge, who just tracked the ball to her right. Keeps it to a dot ball. And Verma, who's using her feet a lot here to Filer. It's something we've grown used to seeing. Often will bat outside her crease. But actually, it's very willing here just to be creeping down to a bowler who's bowling around 70 miles per hour. There's a conversation taking place between captain Nat Sivabrunt and bowler. As we can see, third being brought inside the ring now. And Danny Wyatt pushed out to the boundary at deep point, recognising that Shefali Verma certainly intent on playing that shot. It's Filer. Fuller charges down and slaps the ball through extra cover, does Verma. And she'll pick up 4 runs for that. Again, nice footwork. No fear against England's quick. India 24 without loss after 3.
That's a lovely shot, isn't it? Lovely shot to finish the over. Just a quieter over there for India, and then this time the use of the wrists from Verma to slap the ball through the covers. Great finish to the over.
It's the difference between that shot and that one she looked to pull, where you mentioned her hands were almost too cramped in when she was playing that pull shot, but actually that drive allowed the free extension of her hands. And Shefali Verma, who is back into this T20 side, she's not been named in India's one-day squad. In fact, she's been excluded from this India side for a little while now, returned to domestic cricket, but it's been in good form at the moment. She played in their one-day trophy and she topped the run scoring charts, 527 runs at an average above 75.
Well, the best thing about being on tour is, you know, she's not in the ODI squad, she's in the T20 squad, but if she scores a mountain of runs in these T20s, you can guarantee she'll be called up.
Lindsay Smith, another change of bowling for England, at bowls outside the off stump, and Smriti Mandana just guides that through past point and away for 4, so a boundary off the first ball. India continuing to find these gaps without too much risk. 28 without loss.
Well, it'd be really interesting to see how Lindsay Smith goes here. Obviously an easier ease back into international cricket for Lindsay against the West Indies, but I've seen Lindsay Smith get Smriti Mandana out time and time again, caught long off.
As she bowls straighter now, and it's been pulled away. Fielder out there at deep mid-wicket, can't cut that one off. Sophia Dunkley out there. She's athletic on the boundary, but the timing of that one from Mandana. Lindsay Smith, her first 2 balls just too far outside the off stump that first time, and now this time the length allowing Mandana to easily tuck it off her hip. Under pressure now, 8 of her first 2 balls. Fuller straighter and pushed into the covers for no run. Better reply there from Smith. Smriti Mandana 22 off 10. Faces up. Smith bowls full. She uses her feet, drives down the ground towards long off, and will pick up a single. 32 without loss now, India, halfway through the 4th.
Big 2 balls here for Lindsay Smith to Shefali Verma. You want her to play across the line, heave you into the onside. You've got a deep cow corner, a deep long on. Anything wide outside the off stump, you know she's going to cut. You know she's going to try and give herself room to target the offside.
She's coming over the wicket and then charging down the pitch as Verma swats it down the ground, but picks up that fielder at long on. You can see what she was trying to do as she rehearses the shot, looking to punch it over mid-off instead. Just dragged it over. And Lindsay Smith won't be too disappointed with that result. 1 ball left in this over. Bowls to Mandana, who this time does go over mid-on. Didn't quite time it, but easily cleared Eccleston. India, fantastic start from them. They're 38 without loss after 4 overs. It's looking like a good surface, but probably England would put their hands up and say they haven't consistently bowled in the right areas.
I think they've been, they've been slightly too full. But I mean, that's a great shot from Mandana, isn't it? She just shuffles outside the off stump to access over mid-on. And she's such a class player, but you miss your length by inches, you know, she's going to take advantage of that. I think Filer's got to go short at Verma here. She has to.
Just more on Verma's form. Lately, she played in the Senior Women's One Day Challenger Trophy competition where the national selectors pick out their best players. She averaged 82 in that. 414 runs. Filer bowls to her back of a length on the hip, dropped into the onside, and mid-wicket, who was sat on the ring, Alice Capsey, underarm flicks it into Amy Jones. India pick up a single, 39 without loss. And then in the Women's Premier League this year, she was the leading run scorer for the Delhi Capitals, who were runners-up in the end. So certainly, let's put her hand up. And given the Indian selectors a reason for her to be back involved in this T20 side. And as you say, certainly the potential, if she performs well in these 5 T20s, that they'll just ask her to hang around for those 3 one-day internationals. Filer to the left-handed Mandana. Shorter ball. She squats underneath it. Pretty good form as well, I'd say, in that squat.
It was all right, that one, wasn't it?
Nice use of the short ball again from Lauren Filer, who certainly is the quickest of all of England's bowlers. .39 without loss. Filer turns at the top of her mark, arms pumping as she runs past the umpire, full, driven, and a dive from the fielder at cover won't cut that one off entirely. Return to Amy Jones. And a single taken. India 40 without loss. Verma 12 off 13. Mandana the other end 28 off 14. Plenty of changes been made to the field again now for England as Point coming back into the ring. Capsey pushed back to the boundary at deep mid-wicket. Potentially expecting another shorter ball here. As in comes Filer, and it's a beamer which flies into almost the head height of Shafali Verma. Umpire Jackie Williams immediately outstretches her arm to signal that one as a no ball.
That was just slipped out, that one, I reckon, as Lauren Filer comes in trying to bowl back of the hand slower ball, and it just doesn't quite come out. And tell you what, I don't mind it. Obviously it's a no ball, it's now a free hit, but she laughs. She's trying.
To be fair, if you were Shafali Verma, you'd at least be relieved that the one coming directly at your head was a back of the hand slower ball and not a full pace delivery. But this one will be a free hit. Field has to stay the same. Too deep on the leg side. There's a back of a length ball. It's pulled away out towards Capsey at deep mid wicket. Verma will get off strike, probably giving herself a bit of time to maybe slow the heart rate down after that full toss. Although, to her credit, she did jump up and still try and hit the ball.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Why wouldn't you?
Whack it.
2 balls left. And this 5th over, India going at a run rate of 9. Filer to Mandana. Shorter ball, looks to uppercut it, but misses out. Goes through to Amy Jones behind the stumps, and Mandana probably feeling like she missed out on that one then, just hurried a little bit.
I'm up to no good, Melissa.
I know. I'm
up to
going to be staying within the vicinity to see what unfolds in the next few moments. As in comes Filer, outside the off-stump, Fuller this time. Mandana looking to cut the ball, not the right length, and 5 overs gone. India here, 42 without loss. We're going to get an update from Maz Faruqi at Eastbourne.
And at the second opportunity, Maya Joint won the first set, but she's just lost the second. She was broken 3 times by Alexandra Ayala in the second set. The 20-year-old in the first WTA final of her career, responding quite brilliantly to that disappointment of losing the first set, dropping just 1 game in the second. So we are going to a decider in the Eastbourne Women's Final.
Thank you very much, Maz, and we'll have plenty of updates from Eastbourne as we go through the day. From the F1 as well, Henry Moran here alongside World Cup winner Alex Hartley, bringing you the first T20 between England's women and India in the sunshine of Trent Bridge. And what a good start it's been from India, 42 without loss after 5. Shafali Verma is on 13 or 15, and here comes Lauren Bell from the far end of the ground. That's down the leg side, that'll be signalled wide. Good tumbling take from Amy Jones, moving to her left, and the score moves on to 44 without loss.
India have got off to a brilliant start, haven't they? But the previous over, despite the no ball, was a needed one for England, a quieter over.
A little bit of a breeze around now.
Is there? Have you been outside?
Yeah.
My call said it was 30 degrees.
Warm, very warm. Here comes Lauren Bell again. Over the wicket, and Verma mistimes a big heave, looking to try and clear those fielders inside the circle. This is the final over the power play, where only 2 are allowed outside the 25-yard circle. So if you do get it through, then it is going to whistle away on this scorched outfield. And so we should see, in theory, the run scoring slow down a little bit as those restrictions are lifted. In comes Lauren Bell, rushes in. This is pulled away brutally out towards one of 2 fielders in the deep on the leg side. And Danny Wyatt-Hodge it is in the bright red boots, who will pick up with the score moving forward by 1 on to 44 without loss. Verma is signalling to the dressing room that she wants a new bat.
Well, the one she's got in her hand's not quite working for her, is it? 14 off 17, can't quite time the ball.
No, at the moment it's not quite happening for her. She's normally the aggressor of these two more accurately, but on this occasion hasn't quite managed it. From the Stuart Broad end of the ground, the pavilion end, which is being remodelled at the moment.
Yeah, you don't want that in right now, do you? But
why is that?
It's not got much about it. But I'm sure Stuart Broad, when it's finished and fresh and new, will be going, that's my end.
Here comes Lauren Bell, driven into the offside and stopped by Wyatt-Hodge, who is up inside the circle. And Bell, who's done actually a decent job so far. She's delivered 9 balls and only conceded the 8 runs, which, relatively speaking, has been pretty parsimonious compared to some thus far. It has been a good start this, though, for India. Asked to bat first by England in this first of 5 T20s. You're listening to 5 Live Sport. Here comes Lauren Bell, and swinging the ball away in the air. It's going to just clear the infield. I'm not sure it's quite got enough to make it to the boundary, and indeed Emma Arlott will run round to pick up with a couple of runs taken. Mandana moves her personal tally forward to 30. 2 balls left of the 6th over. The power play will be done after that. Decent crowd making their way in all the time, and you always know it's a warm day because there's a much brighter hue to the clothing of spectators. None of those dark sort of wintry jackets. In comes Lauren Bell, driven by Mandana out towards deep cover, but there is protection on the boundary in the form of Sophia Dunkley in front of the Fox Road stand with its bowed roof, and spectators only probably in the last 6 rows or so protected by that roof, which is quite an extravagant bit of architecture without necessarily providing an awful lot of protection.
Yeah. When the sun goes the other side of it, then yeah, fine. But does it cover many seats from the rain, maybe?
I'm not sure it does.
No, it's just fancy.
Yeah, it
looks good from above.
It's sort of like a fascinator you might wear to Royal Ascot.
Yeah.
It's not providing any sort of attributes, if you see what I mean. You like that? In comes Lauren Bell. Final ball of the power play. Verma now has a new bat, and well, that one seems to have a hole in it. She swung hard at it, missed it, and it goes through to Amy Jones. Good delivery, pace taken off it from Lauren Bell. Power play done, and you'd say that is very much India's power play. 47 without loss after 6.
Last 2 overs of the power play, though, I'm giving to England. Absolutely giving to England. There was a few expensive overs in there for the bowlers, but the last 2, England have managed to just drag things back, quieten things down ever so slightly, and now post power play you bring back in one of the best bowlers in the world, Sophie Ecclestone. Just a bit of pressure has been built in the last 12 balls. It'd be interesting to see what goes on here.
This is a big moment because Ecclestone missed the West Indies series through injury. She had a tumultuous winter, turned down that interview with you during the Women's Ashes in Australia. A lot of criticism there, a lot of criticism around the England team in general. Back in the squad now. This feels like a big moment.
A huge moment, and she's not bowled in the power play, which Sophie Ecclestone does. She normally at least bowls one over in the power play. Normally bowls the hard overs in the power play as well. The hard overs for England. This is very much being eased back into international cricket out of the power play.
You've got a stat for us, and you're going to bring it after this first delivery from Ecclestone. Left arm spin over the wicket to Mardana, who immediately wallops the ball in the air into the leg side and for 6. Well, welcome back to international cricket, Sophie Ecclestone. Massive blow from the bat of Smriti Mandana. It brings up India's 53 without loss.
Well, it's not the start Ecclestone would have wanted. First ball she missed, Fields goes through her leg. First ball back in international cricket. Slightly too full. Mandana with the slog sweep. Backs herself to hit it over Danny Wyatt-Hodge and does exactly that into the stands. Massive from Mandana.
There's 2 fielders out there on the boundary. England with an aggressive approach in the field. Mandana aggressive with the bat, just clipping the ball into the leg side. And this is what we'll see a little bit more of, rather than the boundaries, the accumulation as Mandana just works the ball out towards wide long on, moves to 38. It's 54 without loss.
I think this is where Ecclestone can build the pressure out to Shafali Verma. I am going to bring you that stat. It's just been an exciting start to the over.
Well, it has. The right-handed Shafali Verma waits, bat raised. As in comes Ecclestone. It's a good straight delivery, which is clipped into the onside. That'll just be the 1 run, 55 without loss.
Hypercourse. This game already underlines the greater challenge for England in this series compared to the last. England took at least 2 power play wickets in every innings against the West Indies.
When you just announce Hypercourse, for those not familiar to coverage of England's women...
Oh, I forget we're on 5 Live now.
We are.
Hypercourse is the guru of stats.
In comes Sophie Ecclestone to Mandana, who goes hard at that into the leg side, and I think she's got 6 more. A little bit straighter this time, and indeed it is signal 6 by Jackie Williams. Sophie Ecclestone's getting some treatment here with already 14 off her first over back in England colours, and that is a big old hit.
Well, this is putting pressure on Sophie Ecclestone, isn't it? Putting pressure on England. Been world number 1 for many, many years. Ecclestone missed out against the West Indies due to a little niggle. She's back, and she's back under pressure.
Ecclestone with the long sleeves, tall figure. Into bowl to Mandana, who's going to chip the ball gently down the ground for a single, and seems to be in total control in the sunshine of the East Midlands. 62 without loss. 1 ball left of the 7th over. India's run rate stands at 9.07. This series, by the way, is bringing opportunity for England and India to get ready for the World Cup later in the year. Slashed away in the air into the offside. Out it goes, whistling towards the boundary. And this time it's Shafali Verma that is heaping the pressure on Sophie Ecclestone, who immediately takes a red cap from umpire Williams and marches off looking far less than gruntled. And after 1 over of her, 19 from it, and India 66 without loss.
This is one for Hypercourse, the stats guru, the greatest statsman on the planet. How many times has Sophie Ecclestone been hit for more than 18 and over? Can't be many. In international cricket, can't be many.
Well, it won't be many. How many? We don't know. We'll find out, I'm sure.
I reckon less than 10.
Well, we will find out. We're going to see Alice Capsey, another player who at times has found herself in and out of the England T20 side, but gets the opportunity with her off spin, which has become an increasingly valuable part of her game, actually, in recent times. She's going to go the far end of the ground, the Stuart Broad end, with a conversation from that Sibber Brunt that feels to me as if it's, if not one of panic, is one that has an element of urgency in terms of England needing just to stem this flow of runs.
Well, so they've gone Alice Capsey because she turns the ball away from the left-handed Smriti Mandana. So you've got Lindsay Smith, Sophie Ecclestone, both left-arm spinners bowling into her arc. this should go away from Mandana. Should be harder for her to face.
Round the wicket from the far end of the ground. Capsey is in, bowls, patted towards cover off the back foot, and there'll be no run there. Just resisting the temptation to go too hard at that. I got an eye roll from Smriti Mandana during the toss interviews earlier.
Why? What did you do?
I asked one more question. I was asked an annoying extra question that probably she didn't appreciate. Capsey bowling to Mandana, who lifts the ball away, inside out towards the boundary at wide long off. Fielder can't get there, should have done. That was poor fielding, and slapping the turf is Arlott, who made up the ground but just missed it. And so India moved to 70 without loss, and are dominating in the sunshine.
Well, inside out from Mandana, going with the spin. Arlott, yeah, she gets herself in a bit of a pickle. Doesn't quite time the dive right there in the deep.
Here is Capsey to Mandana, and that goes off something and dropping into the leg side. It'll be signalled as nothing.
And then if this was the WPL, it'd be a review that plays umps, but it's not. It's international cricket. You can't review it.
Can't review wides. Capsey maybe got away with one there. She's in again from the far end of the ground. Well, that is a poor ball, and it's a wide. And she looks frustrated and does the thing that all good bowlers do when they bowl a loose delivery, which is immediately dry their hands on the used rough end of the wicket.
She's just tossed that one up though, hasn't she? She's gone, go on then, smack me, I dare you, but just not quite got the line right.
Capsey again from that far end. The Stuart Broad end a little bit quicker, flatter this time, guided away between the two fielders, behind square on the offside for 4 more. And it is a fabulous 50 from Smriti Mandana, stand-in captain today for India, loves batting in these conditions. And for the 31st time in women's T20 internationals in this 149th game in the format, Smriti Mandana reaches 50.
Brilliant knock as well from Mandana, isn't it? Brilliant knock. In quick time as well, but that was a poor ball. Wide outside the off stump, pace on it.
53 off 27. There's going to be a run there, is there? No. It's been a really controlled innings. When the loose ball has come, she's been eager to gobble up the opportunities.
I love the word gobble.
75 without loss. 1 ball left of the 8th over. That is a quicker ball from Capsey, and played with all the time in the world by Mandana, but straight to the England captain, Nat Sivabrunt, who fields with 9 coming from the over. And England under pressure, 8 gone, 75 without loss. Alex Hartley is going to have a little bit of a break and will be replaced by another World Cup winner, multiple World Cup and Ashes winner indeed. And Catherine Sivabrunt has made her way from the family executive box downstairs. As that's, I suppose, the privilege of being married to the captain.
It is. It's essential. It's essential because with a 13-week-old, as you know, I need some place to escape for obvious reasons.
And do you not view the Test match special commentary box as a little haven?
I do, but I'd have to bring him up here and all you'd hear is wah, wah, and all that. It's just quite distracting when people are trying to enjoy their Saturday afternoons.
No, that's a fair point, though. We are very grateful that you are taking the time. So who's looking after
my brother Austin has been an absolute hero.
Right.
He's allowing me to have some human time. You know, where you remember that you're a human and you're allowed to enjoy life.
I like the idea that you coming to commentate is human time. There you go.
Hi everyone, I'm having my human time.
75 without loss. As Arlott to bowl her second over, right arm seam over the wicket, bowling to Verma, who's looking for a single into the offside. Throw comes in, it's a poor throw from Nat Sivabrunt, who lost her footing as she hurled it in from cover. And Mandana will get on strike with the score, 76 without loss. What have you made of all this?
First of all, I thought that was very harsh, Henry. It was a good throw, she just didn't get to it very quickly.
Well, I suppose I meant the overall package of fielding.
The whole package. We've got here, Alex Hartley has got a tally in her book in front of me, and I am to add to it if there's a misfield or some sort of shocking
and
fielding.
You're not going to add to that?
I will.
Will you?
I will, because
right.
I'm going to be harsh. So it's international cricket, guys. We're not playing club cricket here, so standards are high.
So there's another one. It's up to 6. I think, is it?
Is it?
5 or 6?
Looks like 5.5, but we'll just do 6 because we think the pen ran out there.
Okay.
There we go.
Arlott again to bowl to Martineau with the field up inside the circle in the main on the offside. A couple of boundary riders out in the deep. There is between deep backward point and deep extra cover, and it is that part of the ground that's targeted by Martineau. Fielder running round will just about get there, and that is good work from Dunkley. Just the one taken.
Yeah, as we said at the beginning of this game, from what it looks like, the strip here, it's a big square at Trent Bridge, and it's longer on one side than the other, so they're going to have a wide plan at some point. But it is flat. It's a good depth. There's not much movement. There wasn't any swing. And Arlott clearly going fuller and wider there, making a hit out to the boundary fielder.
And again, this is a straighter ball. It's in the air, should be taken, and it is. Straight to Sophie Eccleston at mid-off. England get their first wicket. Eccleston, who fumbled one in that position earlier on today, well, she takes that cleanly at around about knee height, and Shafali Verma departs. So England do celebrate a first wicket in the series against this India side that has started so quickly. Wasn't timed by Verma, and it was easy as can be for Sophie Eccleston. India 77 for 1.
Yeah, looking at that and the first 7 overs, I don't think Smriti looked great. She looked very keen to swing her bat violently, that's for sure, but she's 20 from 22 on what looks a good surface, and also with some poor fielding and some bad bowling. So for me, Shafali's not in great nick. That bouncer from Lauren Filer to her was brilliant, and that's how the rest of the series needs to go against her. But yeah, she didn't look good for me, and the first time they bowled a couple of balls in a row at the stumps there, she's made a move, and obviously they've encouraged her to hit it straight to the field, which they've not been able to do. There's been so many wider balls, being able to get their hands through it. And Smriti Mandana showing us exactly what this wicket is like. You don't hit Sophie for 2 sixes in an over if it's not a good wicket.
Well, no, and I think that both sides recognised that the toss wanted to win the toss and have a bowl first. I mean, why, from a cricketing point of view, for listeners that think, well, why would you want to bowl first if you've got the opportunity to bat? But tell us in just a moment. We've got Harleen Dool in at number 3, right-hander. In comes Arlott. First ball is pushed into the offside, beats the dive of Nat Sivabrunt, and there'll be 1 taken, and that one will become 2. Good running between Mandana and the new batter Dool, and the score moves forward, 79 for 1.
Yeah, so for me, obviously you bat first, you put a big total on the board, and then you watch them collapse trying to chase it. But with Charlotte, she's got a lot of experience now in India. This wicket is playing a bit like those Indian WPL wickets.
Here comes Arlott again, and down the track comes Dool, crunches that through the offside, and getting at 4 as well, I fancy. That is a really good, authoritative stroke second ball. 83 for 1.
Yeah, Danny Wyatt's out there patrolling that cover boundary, but she's quite square, and if you've got a slower bowler, if that's Lauren Filer, she can stay where she is, but as it's Arlott, it's significantly slower. At this current moment in time, she needs to be a lot straighter. Obviously, you take it earlier, and obviously the length was bad there. So she's come straighter now. Danny Wyatt over on that boundary. Natalie's gone to the ring at extra cover, so it's a little bit more defensive now.
83 for 1. Arlott running in past the umpire now and drops it a little shorter, paddles round the corner towards the boundary on the leg side, but there is a fielder out there to protect things. Dool will keep the strike. 9 overs gone here on 5 Live Sport and Sport Extra 2 as we bring you the first T20 between England's women and India from sunny Trent Bridge. Just a reminder, the men's test series continues on Wednesday with coverage underway from Edgbaston, 10:25 Wednesday morning with Jonathan Agnew and the team. And there'll be highlights not just of that series with today at the test, but also this series too, that you can watch back at your leisure on the BBC iPlayer. And all those in-play highlights, most of which today have been thanks to the batting of India so far, which can bring you all up to date with what's been pretty compelling as a case for India to say, well, we're going to really come into this series and make sure you know that we're not a side that's going to roll over in the way that the West Indies did.
Definitely. They've so much talent, like Alex Hartley said at the beginning. They're very much like Australia in that they could roll out a first or a second team and they'd still be as competitive So yeah, we've got a ways to go for that a little bit yet, even though our effective second team did beat them the other day.
The left arm spit of Lindsay Smith bowling to Dole, who sweeps hard at that. Into the leg side it goes, and it'll beat the fielder. 1 bounce and 4. Tammy Beaumont, credit to her, she leapt to her left to try and stop it, but was never in the picture. Goes whistling out towards the Fox Road stand, and this is some statement from India's top order. There's a camera operator taking evasive action as well.
Yeah, I'll finish my point on the bowling first.
Yes.
Plan it after this delivery.
Here comes Smith. That's a quicker ball which is speared in and well stopped by a tumbling fielder moving to her right, Lauren Filer. No run.
Well bowled that deal, advancing early. Lindsay saw her and dug it in. But yeah, on that point, it's coming from the WPL. The Mumbai Indians, obviously 2 out of 3 champions.
This is swept hard behind square. There is a fielder out there to protect things. I'm not sure they'll be able to stop it. And again, Tammy Beaumont, this time to her right, can do nothing. 92 for 1. And India continue the assault.
Yeah, they do. And on Charlotte's point, and where she'll be coming from, is that in the PL, the Mumbai Indians were so good at chasing because they had experienced batting order, which we do too. And it seemed that whoever batted first wasn't quite sure how many runs this wicket would have in it. So chasing, you could often get a sense that they were 20 short there, but you only know that after you've batted, sort of thing. So I think that's where it's coming from.
The sunglasses Lindsay Smith bowls. Still will sweep again out towards that boundary, and again the ball's going to scoot across the outfield, and again the chase is one in vain from Tammy Beaumont. The India flags are flying around this ground, plenty of them too. 12 from the over so far, 96 for 1. And India are setting themselves up here for a total that could be in excess of 200.
Yeah, it's a very difficult one to set a field because the outfield here at Trent Bridge is massive, and the area in which Diol's hitting to the leg side of the right-hander at the minute is massive. There's a lot of area to patrol there, so Natalie's actually stuck someone else in there to plug. Lindsay's now under a lot of pressure to bowl straight. So this could bring in a leg side wide or the accidental whoopsie on the offside. So we'll see what happens here.
All the boundary protection is on that leg side. And forward comes Dole, clipping the ball up to the straightest of those fielders in the distance as the ball goes along the ground. Up towards long on, 97 for 1. Mandana, who's been enjoying the show from the non-striker's end, is 54 from 30 deliveries.
The other downside, I guess, to bowling first though is that Smriti will have a better idea at where to put her fielders and how quick this outfield is, so she might be putting people out on the boundary earlier.
Here comes Smith in the sunglasses. Mandana's going to get at least one into the leg side, clipped off the toes, and she's content with just the single. It dribbles along the ground towards Alice Capsey. And after 10 overs, halfway point in the innings, 98 for 1 is the score. India on top. Drinks will be taken with Mandana on 55, Dole on 20, and thoughts to do with how they're going to break this partnership for England at some stage. Let's move away from here for the time being on 5 Live Sport. We'll be back when players resume the action in a couple of moments' time. But Ben Edwards is watching things at Austrian Grand Prix qualifying.
Lando Norris has set the pace initially in Q1, only 3 tenths faster than his teammate Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen is currently in 3rd place and Lewis Hamilton is in 4th. This is Q1 and there's still plenty more time to go for them to sort pole position, but Norris looking good.
Indeed, Ben, and it is a scene looking good out here as well at Trent Bridge with the sun shining, and England in a huddle out there taking drinks and receiving instruction from the captain Nat Sivabrunt. But India on top, 98 for 1 after the first 10 overs. By the way, Formula 1 qualifying over on Sports Extra should you want it in its entirety, right, Catherine? I'm going to leave you in the company of Melissa Story, but I'm going to leave you with this question. That question is, Nat will be what sort of leader in this situation? First time her captaincy has really seen the pressure, perhaps, of an India side. What's she going to be saying to those players out there?
Yeah, well, first of all, I hope that she doesn't feel the pressure of what's happening, because the captain she wants to be is that she wants to create 11 individuals, 10 individuals, all in charge of their own game. So the bowlers, that's your profession, that's what you're brilliant at. You lead the way with that, you set your fields, you adapt. with the batters the same. The bowlers don't tell the batters to hit the ball over extra cover, so it's vice versa. This is how she wants to be. So I hope she doesn't take too much on herself, because this is not her fault. She can only set the field to what her bowler wants, and then the bowler's got to produce the ball to that field. This is the biggest test they've had in a while, so the pressure's on to these youngsters. There's a few youngsters here that have never come up against this, only had a little glimpse of it in the 100, so it's a new thing. So it's almost like this game, I know you don't want to let game go, but it's almost like this is a warm-up for the rest of the, luckily it's a 5-match series, so that's great. So the rest of the 4 games, it's going to be game on. This for me is like, see where both teams are at. Obviously India not as confident, they just lost to our A team. Then we're coming in here with a fresh team, I guess. Sophie's just come back into the environment. You've got some youngsters, some people who've not come up against such quality like this on a flat wicket. So we're not in April, May anymore. We're in June, July. It's 30 degrees. These pitches are going to get better. So I'm not too. She won't be, put off by the 9.8 per over at this, but she will if it continues, and then motors. So obviously looking for a bit of a comeback here. It's like your first spell. If you get tapped, you come back, you want to take a few wickets with you. So yeah, she'll have learnt from that half, and then it's a good time. It's good that it's hot. She gets her players to come together and say, right, girls, we can't have the same half there, or we're going to be chasing 200 plus. Let's implement this. So it's nice that they've had that little get together, and that should only benefit England. But yeah, we can't be too harsh just yet.
I like the idea of a drinks break, just being a nice little get together. But as you say, it's been really warm lately, and pitches are hard. Across the T20 Blast, we've seen such high scores. I think in the men's side of things, it's the highest scoring T20 Blast on record. And we've seen multiple teams break the 200 mark in both Tier 1 and Tier 2, the amateur league of the women's game. So certainly good conditions to bat, as Lauren Filer is back into the attack, and this has been picked up over square leg for 6 into the crowd. And Smriti Mandana,
absolute shot,
wallops that one. She was coming around the wicket, it was angled into her body, and you won't see a better shot than that. So India bring up their 104 for 1.
That is a mixture of a pure wicket, pace on the ball, and an unbelievable batsman. That's the longest part of the ground, probably the longest boundary we'll get all year, and she's just rocked back and picked that up. Such great timing, effortless shot, not overhit, and she's just sent one of the quickest bowls in the world into the stand.
And that's intent from India after that drinks break. As you said, they know what England would have been saying. Let's not replicate that first half. So how can they immediately put pressure back on?
I wouldn't say so. I think she'll calm down now, Smriti, unless it's another bad ball. It was a loosener back for Lauren. Smriti's still on it, still on this good wicket, and if she drops that shot, it's going.
As Filer, close to the umpire, runs in full, now outside the off stump, driven out towards Lindsay Smith at deep cover for a single. 105 for 1 India. I guess there's that element as a batting team as well, and India have done this pretty well so far throughout this innings, of getting that boundary early on in the over as well, because it just takes the pressure off you. And actually, with the way England have bowled at times, they've not only kind of had that pressure on them early on, but they've also served up a second boundary ball, which is how India are going along at a rate of over 10 now at this stage.
I would love to know the percentage of balls hitting the stumps, because I will tell you it's less than 40%.
Filer on the pads, flicked away towards a wide fine leg on the boundary.
I remember being the Perth Scorchers. Obviously we're talking T20 cricket here, and I would often, if I wasn't in the 75 to 85%, I would be very disappointed. It's a bad day. So for everybody collectively to be bowling in that, I could probably say honestly, strongly, that it would be in the 35-40%, which you're just never ever going to win a game of cricket in that region.
Mandela back on strike. This one's wide. She did step into the offside, and you could just see Lauren Filer thinking to push that ball wider away from her. In the end, the umpire favouring with the batter, and a run to the total. 107 for 1 in the 11th over.
It's a very risky plan, this, because Smriti loves square leg, and she loves just working it round the corner to find leg, and we've got both of them up. So Lauren's feeling like she's got to bowl wide on the offside, which there's only 2 people out there patrolling.
She does bowl wide on the offside, and Jackie Williams just slowly outstretches her arms to signal wide as Lauren Filer tumbles down on the ground, and a nice scene there as Harleen Diol at the non-striker's end offers her a hand up. None of the England players came to go help her get up.
No, they've seen it far too many times. It's standard Lauren Filer by now.
They've gone, look, she spends half her time on the ground at this stage. She's got to learn up to get up on her own.
But I'm not sure about this plan. It's so, honestly, the wide Yorker is the hardest ball in the book to bowl. Anybody will tell you that. So asking a youngster to do that against Smriti, who's on 60 odd, not the best.
Filer outside the off stump and cut away. Picks out Smith at deep cover. Will just be the one, and Smriti Mandana rocks her head back in disappointment, because there was that width on that one. She could get underneath it, but just couldn't find that gap towards probably the shortest corner of the boundary, where that newer stand cuts off one corner of the ground here.
It's a very obvious plan, and their aim is just to give Smriti one and bowl at Diol, even though Diol's going well. It is a plan, but very hard to execute.
Diol 21 off 9 balls. Ducks underneath the slower ball bouncer. It's a fumble from Amy Jones with the gloves on behind the stump, and in the end almost a chance of a run out there. Throw came into the striker's end.
Yeah, that was quite frustrating, that, because they've just worked so hard to get Smriti off strike, and then bowled a brilliant bouncer at Diol, and Amy's fumbled it to get Smriti back on strike. As a bowler, I could tell you I'd be up to number 9 on the wind-up scale there.
I do think we should almost have that on the graphics in front of us. That
it's me growling.
Maybe a fun little scale with a cutout of your head on it, and we can just see as it slowly goes into the red zone with big flashes of danger on the screen.
I tell you what, I'm just looking at the board. She's bowled 2 wides in this over. It's 30 degrees. She's about to bowl her 9th ball or something. Yeah, 8th ball, and she's already gone for 12 or something. You don't need those fumbles in your life when you.
Well, the field's changed again, because you mentioned that last over there was 2 out on the offside, but now entirely different field with all 4 fielders out on the leg side. She's coming back over the wicket to the left-hander, looking to cramp her up.
It's like asking, someone to go from one extreme to the other.
As Filer, shorter ball, looking to uppercut, but misses out and backpedals so much there, Smriti Mandana, that she ends up off the pitch. Goes through to Jones, but it is a dot ball. So 11 overs have gone. India 110 for 1. Of course, you can catch in-play clips and highlights of this game on the BBC Sport website and app. And there's match highlights available from 11 p.m. on BBC iPlayer and the red button.
She did me all over then, because I didn't think she was going to bowl a bouncer, because she'd already bowled one. It wasn't called one for the over, so I need to be watching the umpires a little closer.
Well, to be fair, that first shorter ball, you mentioned that Harleen Diol ducked underneath. She only just ducked underneath it.
It would have been about chest high, that, not. So yeah, you're right, because she almost sat on the floor, didn't she? And she's not the tallest. So yeah.
So Alice Capsey is going to come back into the attack. So far bowled just the 1 over for 9 runs.
Eccleston's on the board there. What a rare sight, 1 over for 19. But I don't think Nat should be put off by that. It's been a long break. She needs to just get her back on the wagon. I think another over, even if Smriti's still in, is still on the cards.
4 on the leg side on the boundary, is advancing down the pitch and hammering it past Capsey. She almost got a hand to it in her follow through, but the fielder inside the ring, Eccleston, at mid-off, didn't even have to move for that one. It flew past her, and Diol moves to 25 of just 11 balls. A fantastic striking from the Indian number 3. India 114 for 1. Bit of an unusual field here, in the sense that there's a fielder at square leg here, Catherine, but then also a fielder almost at a deep square.
Yeah, so she last over to Alice Capsey, she went to that area quite often, didn't she? She wasn't afraid. She played that sweep effortlessly, actually, so I can see why she's wanting to set that field.
Trying to cut off the angle. She does sweep, and it's in the air, but just to the right of that square leg inside the ring. It's cut off on the boundary by Lauren Bell. Just the single to Diol.
Yeah, so Nat would be in the ring at square leg there, because they don't want Smriti on strike. So she's there for the single, and the other 2 either side of her on the boundary, because she loves that sweep shot so much, which she did so successfully over before. But yeah, it looks like a bit of a headache here with such a flat wicket and bowling. You've got a part-timer bowling here, but she's decent in her own right, but she's in this game. I wouldn't have thought she was supposed to get much of a go, but it's just worked out that way, I'm afraid. So it's a bit of a adapting for Nat today.
Left hand, right hand combination causing headaches, advancing down the pitch, driving over mid-off, one bounce away for 4 runs. Effortless from Smriti Mandana, standing Indian captain for today's game of Harmanpreet Kaur.
Yeah,
not playing. It was a glorious shot.
It was, and that, but we know that, don't we? We know she hits it over there. So it is a surprise to me for them to leave extra and long off. It's like not putting long off out to Danny Wyatt. You just don't do it. It's not like she's turning it. Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit of a worry.
Capsey under pressure now. Bowls to Mandana, a quicker one. It's been pulled in the air short of the fielder Lindsay Smith, who runs along the boundary, fumbles the ball in the end, it dropping down by her feet, and in the end not actually too costly for England as India just get through for the 120 for 1. But there is a tally on you and Alex Hartley's fielding mistakes chart.
Yeah, she fumbled it twice, so we can't let her have that.
How many are we up to now? Are we on to 7?
If that was Australia, they would have run 2. New Zealand 100% run 2.
Well, this is something
Smriti's blowing.
I was going to ask you about in just a moment as Capsey creeps into the wicket. Flatter ball, it's been hit up in the air, and a chance now for the fielder. A deep mid-wicket, it's been dropped. And it's Danny Wyatt-Hodge out there. No, you won't see that often. She's one of England's best fielders. She didn't even have to move, just waited there, almost too much time to think. And the ball just popped out of her hand. India take the single, the score 121 for 1. And Smriti Mandana has been dropped on 67. A big moment there for England. And that's almost a reminder as a flatter ball from Capsey is pulled out towards deep mid-wicket. It will just be the single of that disastrous World Cup campaign for England, where they dropped all those catches against the West Indies. The score here at the end of the 12th over, India 122 for 1. Let's head over for an update from the Eastbourne Open from Maz Faruqi.
Well, this third set is swinging one way and then the other. Alexandra Ayala breaking immediately in the sider, then Maya Joint responding with a double break of her own, but just when it looked like she was then starting to turn the screw, Ayala then taking advantage at love 40 on the Australian serve. So we're back as you were, back on serve. Ayala's just won her service game, so she leads 5-4. Maya Joint coming out after the change of ends to serve to stay in this Eastbourne Women's Final.
Thank you, Maz. And just a correction on that one, it was Harleen Diol who was dropped off the bowling of Alice Capsey there. So she was dropped on 26. She's 27 off just 13 balls now. And this partnership continuing to grow for India.
The problem is it continues to let them feel invincible. So the confidence and the want to strike the ball aerial, it keeps going. So this could cause some carnage, to be honest.
Arlott to bowl the 13th. And it's a wide ball outside the off stump, left well alone by Mandana.
It's nearly perfect, right, but it's so hard. I promise you, as a seamer, it's the hardest thing to do ever. Even back end of my career, I've bowled millions of balls. It's so hard. I personally would try something a fraction easier. Not that we should take the easy way out, but at this point, you're trying to not commit carnage.
Arlott, a reply after that wide ball, ball's full. It's clipped down the ground towards Eccleston at long on. Will just be the one which at this stage for England is probably the best result they'll be hoping for here. Yeah. And as you say, you know, these deliveries from England where they've missed their line, they've missed their length, it allows a bad batter can get away at a shorter wide ball, let alone some of the best players in the world, and just giving them that opportunity to get underneath the ball opens up so many more possibilities in where they can manipulate the ball to go, which is causing England that headache. When you get it on that fuller line, angled in at the stumps, makes it a lot easier as a slower, shorter ball, well disguised from Arlott. It's been turned around the corner towards fine leg. India run the first one hard, but just get the single, 125 for 1.
So the spinners they've got to bowl at the stumps. There's no two way about it. And then you've got to follow the batters when they try and, if you're doing that successfully, they do something else. They move, you follow, and then the bowlers seamers have got to be accurate, but they've also got to introduce their slow balls and bouncers in a good fashion.
Arlott bowls full, it's been hit in the air and just falls short of Danny Wyatt-Hodge there. She started running in, and actually the music started playing. It hasn't gone away to the boundary for 4. I think the DJ here at Trent Bridge got a bit too trigger happy with that big button there. Danny Wyatt-Hodge, she ran in as if to take the catch, and it felt like the ball was going away from her. In the end, adjusting to parry the ball back within the rope.
She backed out of the catch quite quick to then patrol the boundary and managed to get back in time to smack it back into play. But yeah, that catch, the clouds are fine. The clouds, and she didn't have to run. The tricky bit about catching in the deep is running.
Arlott, full, driven just over extra cover, took the aerial route. Would have been a spectacular catch there from Natsiva Brunt if she'd got her hand to it. There's another boundary for India, 132 for 1 in the 13th over, and M. Arlott here is under a bit of pressure now.
Yeah, I wonder if we can get that. I'd love to know. Well, I can get it from the bowling coach, the percentage of balls bowled on the stump, but yeah, I'm not convinced it's anything above 40%, and that is just crucial on a wicket like this.
2 balls left in this over from Arlott. Over the wicket. Slower ball, waited for that one to Diol, and in the end, Ristily gets it to backwards square. Lindsay Smith on the boundary. Returns the ball to Amy Jones, but not before India can safely get back for 2 more runs. 134 for 1. You mentioned the kind of running between the wickets here, and that Smriti Mandana probably blowing a bit now and getting tired out there, but there's certainly been more intent in this partnership and running between the wickets than there was when Shefali Verma was out there in the middle.
Shefali's never had any interest in running twos, I can guarantee that.
Every single ball hit to a sweeper was jogged through rather than trying to put that pressure on. As this time advances, chips it up in the air just over extra cover and mid-off. It won't go away for 4. Captain Natsiva Brunt keeps that one in inside the boundary rope. India get back comfortably for 2 more runs. 136 for 1 after 13, India. Of course, England, they won the toss, elected to bowl first here at Trent Bridge in this first T20, in this 5 T20 match series.
You remember I said at the beginning about we picked a team where we didn't believe we'd lose more than 4 wickets. I think we can. It's safe to say that will stay the same. 136 for 1 is ridiculous. Not something that England will be feeling great about at this point, because there's no reason for them to stop now. Even if this is almost a thing where you lose no wickets, right, for so long in the period, and then you lose 6 because you're in such a great position that you can just go gun-ho. And now they're in that position. This is a scary time. Sophie could quite easily take 2 wickets here because they know they can let rip.
I was going to say, this feels like an over for Sophie Ecclestone back into this England side.
Oh, she's got 19, the shorter boundary as well.
Went for 19 off her first over, but this could be the difference between India getting a score around 200 or a score around 170. I mean, it truly could be. The way they're going, they're striking at almost 10.5 runs per over here.
Yeah. So they're on for 220 here, and if depending on how the rest of Sophie's overs go, because this is a real battle between her and Smriti.
So she's going to be coming over to Smriti Mandana, who pulls the ball out towards deep mid-wicket. We'll just get a single here, as that's a flatter delivery from Ecclestone. 137 for 1.
I think with these two being so good at, obviously, Smriti's sweep slog, Diol's traditional sweep, Soph's not wanting to pitch the ball up anymore. I think we're going to see it a little bit back of a length and quicker from now on.
Well, she's got long on, long off back, deep mid-wicket, deep square, big gap on the leg side in which Diol just picks out, jogs through for a single, almost goes down into a walk halfway down the pitch as the throw from Wyatt-Hodge comes into the bowler's end. I do think, India are doing very well in terms of scoring, but I would still like to see them sprint that first one, put pressure on the fielder, because it might bring those fumbles, which we have seen England do. Almost a Yorker there from Ecclestone on the pads of Mandana. again picks out that deep mid-wicket fielder and Sophia Dunkley. Single to the total, 139 for 1.
There's not a huge array of different balls going on here because she has got long on laugh back, which suggests she's not going to bang it in, which, you know, is a little bit funny because she can still sweep behind here. And with long and laugh back, you tend to bowl slower and fuller because you've got the protection. So if she does that and gets swept, it's wide open. So yeah, the plan isn't that clear to me.
Eccleston is swept, and it beats the fielder diving at short 45 in the ring. Alice Capsey can't cut that one off. Exactly as you called, Catherine Sivabrunt. Another boundary for India, 143 for 1 now. Harleen Diop on 41 off just 19 balls. Smriti Mandana, who's been there from the start, 75 off 42. It was playing almost into her strength, and we've seen now Capsey on the boundary holding her hand up saying, look, I need to be going finer. Now there's a big gap at square leg, really, where between Capsey at deep backward square and Danny White-Hodge at deep mid-wicket, there's a lot of room, but Diol doesn't target it. Instead, she comes down the pitch, and the ball just worked down towards long on. Single taken, 144 for 1 now.
Yeah, it's just making me wonder where Surf's head's at right now, because that to me was blatantly obvious. It wasn't one plan or the other. It was a hybrid.
Eccleston to Mandana, goes airily, over cover, and it's another boundary. It's been expensive from Eccleston. We said this would be a big over. She's gone for a few boundaries off it. India 148 for 1 off 14, with that freedom to just keep accelerating here with wickets in hand.
I would say that that's Sophie done for the day, which is a shame because she's going to go away from this game, you know, first game back after a bit of a break and feeling a lot of dross. So I hope people are kind to her. This is very much not going to be a consistent thing. We know quality bounces back, and people have played against her for a long time. Let's not forget how great this pitch is. England are more than capable of doing this in return, as long as India don't bowl out their skin.
But we also know this is an Indian side which does have a weaker bowling lineup, I think you could say, in comparison to their batting lineup. So going into this series, they know that their batters have to perform, show their experience. Catherine Sivabrunt is going to take a break as Alex Hartley rejoins us for the final 6 overs of this first innings. Lauren Filer back into the attack on the pads, tickled down towards fine leg for a single. Score to 149 for 1. So that last Sophie Eccleston over, 12 runs off it. And Alex, as a fellow spinner, it didn't look like the Sophie Eccleston which we've come to know in a way of that having that fight as she comes up to the crease. It did look like she was a bit confused.
Well, I think she's had a lot going on, hasn't she? You know, she's taken that mental health break, 3 weeks away from cricket.
It's Filer into Mandana. Pulled away, and there's no one out at deep square. One bounce 4, and Filer just dropping her length back. Mandana loves picking it up off her hip, and it's easy runs for her. 150 up for India. 21 4s and 3 6s in this innings.
Well, there's been a lot of talk on how England cope under pressure, and England lose games when they're under pressure. They don't play as well when they're under pressure. Ashes, World Cup, semi-finals, finals. It's been a problem for a number of years now.
Filer, this time full outside the off stump, driven over the head of mid-off, and it's another boundary. The runs absolutely flying here for India. Filer's on the ground again, tripping up in her follow-through. You can tell she's giving everything here, but England looks scrambled out there, responding to this pressure, as you say, from the Indian batters, having that left-hand, right-hand combination, constantly changing the field, and it almost feels like they're chasing the ball around a bit here.
Now, this is as close as you get to when you play Australia in bilateral series, you play India in bilateral series. This is as close. This is this is a lot of pressure, you know, as close as you'll get to those World Cups. And England, for me, haven't quite reacted as strong as I would have liked. They've been dominant in home series. They've been dominant in series that don't have trophies on them.
Filer, shorter ball, and Mandana just manages to swat it away past Amy Jones. It is cut off in the end nicely by Lauren Bell, so won't go away for 4 as we wait for the signal from umpire Jackie Williams.
Having said that, you know, it's clearly a flat surface. It's clearly a great surface to bat on. So England are just going to have to be confident, keep themselves in the game. 1 wicket here can change the game. There is no Harmanpreet Kaur for India. But talking about that pressure and how England cope under pressure, well, it's not been very well today.
159 for 1. Filer on the pads, pulled away again towards a diving fielder at square leg. Really good work there from Tammy Beaumont. With 2 fielders converging for England. Beaumont full stretch dive. Those 2 good bits of work there in consecutive deliveries from England, with Lauren Bell and Tammy Beaumont saving what would have been boundaries.
Well, that was
this
excellent.
is what England's got to do now at this stage. 160 for 1.
Excellent from Tammy Beaumont. Fantastic bit of fielding. She's only played 5 international T20s in the last 3 years, and that she wants to play. We all know she wants to play. She said she's got half an eye on that World Cup in 2026.
It's Filer into Diol. It's a shorter ball. She ducks underneath it and immediately outstretches her hands to the umpire as if to say, was that not a wide ball? It did look slightly leg side-ish line, but if she'd been stood upright probably would have been heading towards her body. But anyway, Harleen Dole, she's 43 off 22. Smriti Mandana, well, she's 90 off 47, and I guess Alex could be nearing those 3 figures. India 160 for 1 after 15. A few thoughts from you, Alex, and you'll be joined by Henry Moran.
Yeah, 10 runs away from another century for Smriti Mandana, but she doesn't really do nervous 90s. I mean, for her, if she slows down now and it takes her 10 balls to get 100, that's a fail. If she goes 4-4 out, that's a win.
Yeah.
You'd rather be out for 98 hitting the next 2 balls for 4 than you would to chew 10 balls just to get your century.
England under real pressure here at Trent Bridge. Here comes Lauren Bell for her 3rd over from the far end of the ground, and a loopy slower ball is patted into the offside by Mandana, who remains unbeaten on 90 of 48. The India run rate 10.55.
Yeah, they've been exceptional, India. Mandana in particular. And then I was just saying to you off air, Henry, Harleen always gets me by surprise at how quickly she goes through the gears.
Yeah. Lauren Bell again. Bowls to Mandana, who's going to launch down the ground out towards that boundary at wide long off. Danny Wide will run round and will field cleanly, but not before 2 runs are taken. Wyatt, who put down a chance to just miss Harleen Dole earlier on in her innings, but was unable to take the catch. Should have done as well, no question about that.
It was, I've never seen her drop a catch like that.
It's a weird one,
Wyatt
wasn't it?
Hodge. I mean, normally the ball goes to her and she, you know, you saw it a couple of overs later where she's fielding the ball over the boundary rope and flicking it back in.
Fabulous fielder normally. Mandana on 92 gets a poor delivery down the leg side, helped on its way, and that'll be 4 more. She moves to 96. Easy pickings, even at the start of an innings. That was a poor ball, I'm afraid. And England once again unable to stem the flow of runs, and there's not been a single part of Trent Bridge that's been safe this afternoon.
She's just manipulating the field so well, isn't she? Mandana.
What a player she is as well. 149th T20. In the air it goes, out towards the deep. It's going to be 4. And there it is. 100 for Smriti Mandana. And in her storied international career, it is the first time she has reached 3 figures. And what a moment it is for her. She takes off her helmet and waves all around Trent Bridge. It's been a brilliant innings, it really has. 100 off just 51 deliveries. And Smriti Mandana, this brilliant, dashing left-hander, lofts the ball away over long off, gets the 4 runs to take her to 100. India 170 for 1.
Exceptional innings from an exceptional player. She's manipulated the field, she's moved around the crease, she's created her own boundaries, her own gaps. She's set the tone for this series for India. There's a lot of talk on how India were beaten in their warm-up games. Me and Catherine Sivabrunt said ignore the warm-up games, and this is why. India, they turn themselves on when they need to.
Here comes Lauren Bell. It's pulled away into the leg side, out towards the deep where Dunkley fields in front of that stand that rather cuts off a corner of the outfield. 1 run taken, 171 for 1. And as you said, Alex, it was shots like that, not without risk, that have sort of marked this innings really from Mandon. And that was a gutsy stroke with the fielder out there, but she was brave enough to play it, and she got the reward as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure England have quite had their field right to her, to be completely honest, at times.
Here comes Bell over the wicket to Harleen Dool, who hits that away into the leg side. Should be a chance of a catch, and it is. And it's well taken by Amarlin as well, because she had the boundary to think about as well. But moving to her right at long on, she gets across, takes the catch. And at the end of the 16th over, India lose their second wicket. 171 for 2. Catch taken in a deep by Emma Arlott off the bowling of Lauren Bell. And Harleen Dool is the second wicket to fall for 43.
Yeah, just looking to split that deep mid-wicket and long on. Harleen Dool there. Not a slog sweep, more of a hack across the line. She's timed it really nicely, but just picked out Emma Arlott, who takes a pretty simple catch in the deep, but she's done the damage, hasn't she? She's got 43 off just 23 balls, and that run rate now for India is skyrocketing.
16 overs gone, 171 for 2. Even if you were to stop the innings at this point, you'd say England have got a decent challenge to chase down the runs, but it's going to be many more. You'd have thought in excess of 200. And here on 5 Live Sport, we're bringing you what is going to be the first real test, and it's already proving that for Charlotte Edwards, the England coach who we heard from prior to this game. She seemed pretty relaxed, as did the captain Nat Sivabrunt when I spoke to her at the toss. We're feeling quite as relaxed now as Risha Ghosh comes up the order. Carded to bat at 6, but she's a power hitter. Strike rate in T20 internationals of around about 150. Smriti Mandana joins an elite club, players that have scored hundreds across the 3 formats. 2 from England, 1 from Australia, 1 from South Africa. Pulled away into the leg side it goes again, out towards the deep, but on the bounce towards Danny Wyatt Hodge, and it'll just be the 1 run. Mandana to 102, 172 for 2. So Heather Knight missing the rest of the summer through injury. Tammy Beaumont, who plays today. And then South Africa's Laura Wolfhard, Beth Mooney of Australia, and now Smriti Mandana.
Tell you who will be added to that list.
Go on.
Phoebe Litchfield.
You'd have thought so, the Australian left-hander. Here is Lindsay Smith, who's been expensive today, none for 29. And bowls a ball that is chipped away inside out by Risha Ghosh, and that's going to be 4 immediately. And what a good shot that is.
That is a shot. Inside out, as you say, Henry. It's not a bad ball from Lindsay Smith whatsoever. Targeting the stumps, she just gives herself room, clears that front leg, and just backs that bottom hand to go with the arc. Inside out, over extra cover. As a bowler, you've just got to say, where was that hitting? For me, that was hitting middle and leg. Good shot. Now there's a little change in field. Square leg comes up, extra cover goes out. Lindsay Smith now has to go on off stump, not middle, because she'll be swept for 4 otherwise.
Boundaries as well. 25 4s, 3 6s in the innings. So 118 runs have been scored in boundaries so far. Slashed away through the offside, beats the dive of the fielder at backward point, and there'll be another. And Lindsay Smith doesn't know where to bowl at the moment. England don't know where to look. 180 for 2 midway through the 17th.
So the danger of having square leg up is that she can't go too straight. But when she's thinking there, I can't go too straight, I can't go middle and leg, I've got to go pitching the ball on off stump, drifting it in. She's started wide outside the off stump, there's been no drift, and it's just been a freebie.
A little bit quicker this time, and that's a good ball because it beats the sweep attempted by Risha Ghosh and goes through to the gloves of Amy Jones.
That's the one. It's just outside the off stump, a little bit of drift in. The batter thinks it's there to sweep because square leg's up. And you can't go inside out because extra cover's out on the boundary.
In comes Lindsay Smith once more. Rather rises unexpectedly and bounces a little bit more than Ghosh is expecting. And all she can do is push towards backward point. And so a couple of dot balls. Here is Lindsay Smith again. Final ball of the 17th over is not a good one. It goes down the leg side and it beats everyone. There's a chase on for the fielder, and I fancy this is going to be 5 wides unless there's a little tickle off the pads, but in fact signalled by umpire Williams that it came off the bat directly. So 3rd 4 for Rika Ghosh, and the score moves on to 184 for 2 with 3 overs left. What your hands are out? You look confused, Alex.
Eccleston. Only bowled 2 overs. And I know she's been expensive. She's gone at 15s. I know. She's competitive. She gets in the battle. She gets in people's heads. And I know she's not played international cricket yet this summer until today. Maybe there is an almost wanting to protect her. But she's been the world's best bowler for about 6 years until ranked the world's best bowler until very, very recently. For me, she still is the world's best bowler. I'd love to see her come back here and just try and break this partnership.
Here comes Lauren Bell round the wicket and pulled away murderously by Smriti Mandana out towards a deep. There's a good piece of fielding. Goodness me, Lindsay Smith diving to her right to pick up, and in the end doesn't just save the boundary, but also saves anything more than just a single being scored. It's a really good piece of fielding.
Well, she's an exceptional fielder, is Lindsay Smith, one of the best in the game. And whenever she's playing for England, the standard of fielding is just elevated by Lindsay Smith. You know, she's had an expensive previous over, but she's almost just ignored that.
Match point at the tennis at Eastbourne. Maz Faruqi.
And these two players, Maya Joint and Alexandra Ayala, couldn't be separated across the 3 sets. We are playing a deciding tie-break at the end of the 3rd set to decide who is going to be the Eastbourne women's champion. And Alexandra Ayala is serving 6-5 up in this tie-break. This near side towards the far side, where Maya Joint is returning on the forehand side towards the baseline. Double-handed backhand return from Alexandra Ayala, forced back towards the baseline. These two players exchanging ground strokes. There's been some really long rallies, some really exciting rallies in this match. Who is going to blink first on this decisive point? And it's a great winner down the line from Maya Joint, so it becomes 6 points all in the tiebreak. Still, we don't have a winner yet in this Eastbourne women's final.
England have got a 3rd wicket. Rika Ghosh has managed to pick out the fielder at deep cover, and it's another one for Lauren Bell to add to her collection. Catch taken in the deep. Rika Ghosh goes for 12, and what looked like a dangerous contribution at the back end of the innings has come to an end, and England have at least managed to find a 3rd breakthrough. Alex Hartley.
Yeah, they needed that as well, didn't they? India have been motoring for a while now. Lauren Bell, she's been exceptional in T20 cricket for the last year or so, just getting the wicket of Rika Ghosh, who is capable of changing games. She's such a powerful batter, plays in franchise leagues all around the world, but when one falls, another one comes in, and it's only Jemima Rodrigues that comes to the crease.
Yeah, who's a player that we've seen a fair bit in the 100 competition, Northern Superchargers. She played some brilliant innings, particularly in the early years of the competition. She's a very dangerous player.
She has smacked me around so many times.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, one tactic that we have seen quite consistently from India in this innings is trying to put real pressure on England early on in an over. That's what they've been looking to do. Right-handed Rodrigues waiting, and a big swing, misses everything, beats Amy Jones, who's standing up to the stumps, and will go on down to the boundary below us at the Radcliffe Road end of this ground. 190 for 3. Maz, back to you.
She's just saved a match point, and now she has one of her own, Maya Joint, but she's just gone long and wide with her first serve, serving at 7 points to 6 up in the deciding set tie-break. That second serve is good. Now the forehand towards the baseline, and that's a winner, another glorious winner, this time from Alexandra Ayala. A 2nd match point saved in this Eastbourne women's final.
Well, I think England have got another wicket here, and it's one of the filthiest deliveries that Lauren Bell will bowl this summer. It was almost off the cut strip, and she was chasing it, was Rodrigues, and only managed to pick out the fielder at backward point. It's an extraordinary dismissal, and Jemima Rodrigues goes first ball, and England have burgled a wicket there. 190 for 4.
Well, a peculiar one, that, wasn't it? It's wide, outside the off stump. She tries to whack it through the covers, and it comes right off the toe end. Nat Sivabrunt diving forward takes the catch, and tell you what, England will take them however they can, because this is the second highest total England have conceded in T20 on a home soil.
Back to Eastbourne and Maz.
Every time you come back to me, Henry, we miss a wicket. Maybe we will get a winner now in this women's Eastbourne final. Second match point for Alexandra Ayala. 8-7 she leads in this deciding set tiebreak. Serving over on the far side to the backhand side of her opponent, Maya Joint, who manages to just scramble across and keep that in. Some real powerful ground strokes coming towards her, though, this near side of the court, as she tries to make her way now forward towards the net and finds the back right corner of the court and fist pumps, because that is another championship point saved in this Eastbourne final. We go to 8 points all in the deciding set tiebreak.
We'll be back for the conclusion as and when it comes. Thank you, Maz. No extra wickets have fallen here. We got a ball left of the 18th over, 191 for 4.
Yeah, we need to stop going to the tennis, really, if you're an Indian fan, because wickets keep tumbling.
It's been quite a productive spell, this, for England. As we see Amajot Kaur come to the middle. Mandana, though, on strike as Lauren Bell runs in round the wicket to bowl to Mandana. And what a take that is.
Wow.
Amy Jones up to the stumps. Well, she's missed a few today, but that was extraordinary from the England keeper.
Mandana just turns around and is like, have you just taken that? That is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
Back to Maz at Eastbourne.
Another championship point for Alexandra Ayala. This time, though, she will be receiving. Maya Joint is serving to stay in this Eastbourne women's final. First serve, good. Then the forehand return from her opponent, Alexandra Ayala, the 20-year-old from the Philippines, into her first WTA final. Can she get the backhand across court? She does. That's hit with some real power, but then comes back with interest from the 19-year-old Australian Maya Joint, who sees her opponent then put wide. A 4th championship point saved in this Eastbourne women's final, Henry.
Thank you very much, Maz. 193 for 4 here at Trent Bridge, with 2 overs left of the innings, and Lauren Bell has finished her 4-over spell, 3 for 27.
Absolutely outstanding from Lauren Bell. When everyone else is leaking runs left, right and centre, she's been quite economical, hasn't she? And she's managed to pick up a filthy wicket, but England will absolutely take it. Managed to pick up a couple more as well. India obviously only 4 down, and she's got 3 of them.
Well, this is now England's second highest total, as you say. It's unbelievable, conceded at home, and that is a pretty brutal day at the office, isn't it?
I remember the highest, though.
What, Chelmsford?
Yeah.
Meg Lanning of Australia scoring 100. They scored 2-2-6 for 3 that day. Here comes M. Arlott. Slower pace on that, and Mandana won't get a single. That's well bowled, as it's tapped into the onside.
Yeah, it was Fortress Chelmsford before Meg Lanning decided to ruin that for England.
Every time any cricket team calls something a fortress, immediately, it's like Fortress Gabba in Australia. Immediately West Indies and India won there.
Yeah.
Fortress Edgbaston became a thing. England lost.
Yeah.
Just leave it out.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. You put additional pressure. Mandana waits on 104, swings hard at that, won't beat the dive of Tammy Beaumont, who does well at square leg. That was goalkeeper style, really, just parrying the ball almost around the post before retrieving it and preventing anything more than 1. 194 for 4.
She knows there's absolutely nobody behind her, so she's almost got to put the body on the line for the team, and she does that. I tell you what, she's fielded so well today, has Beaumont.
Former gymnast, she uses all that sort of spring-loaded power to leap about.
I'd love to know how long she was actually a gymnast for, because I also did gymnastics, but I don't go around. I wasn't quite good at the old flips, though.
Yeah, but if you...
I could balance on a beam. I was about 4.
In comes Arlott, nicely clipped away off the pads out towards square leg, and Lindsay Smith. Kaur gets a second run. This has been a decent little spell for England here. 195 for 4. But purely looking at the fielding prowess of you and Tammy Beaumont, Alex, love you as we do.
You're saying I wasn't as good in the field as Tammy, or as springy and athletic?
Yeah, you're a better left-arm spinner though. So, take the wins. Arlott running in over the wicket and driven firmly up towards Capsey, waiting at mid-off, and there's another dot ball, and England just doing a decent job at reining things in as Mandana punches her bat in frustration. 8 balls left of the innings.
Well, it took her 51 balls to bring up 100. 58 balls now, and she's only on 105. Only on 105, you know what I mean?
Arlott again. galloping in, right arm over, past the umpire. Forward comes Mandana, lofting the ball out over the fielder at cover towards Dunkley, who runs around to pick up. One run is taken, a second run attempted, and Mandana rather put the brakes on as she saw Amy Jones coming into view, but was safely home. And she'll be tired there, Mandana, having reached her first T20 International 100, 197 for 4. We'll be going to the F1 at the end of the innings with India with 7 balls left to try and find a way of getting a decent way north of 200. Mandana chipping the ball down the ground. That's a nice looking shot. Fielder out there in the deep will pick up on the bounce, and it is just the 1 run. So Mandana to 108. India 198 for 4. 19 overs gone. And we've got a result at Eastbourne, Maz.
She won her first WTA title on the clay of Morocco back in May. Now she can add the grass court title at Eastbourne here to her collection. Maya Joint, she's won the decisive third set tiebreak. She's made a name for herself this week, knocking out some big names along the way as she heads into her first Wimbledon next week as the Eastbourne champion.
Thank you very much, Maz. Coverage of Wimbledon getting underway on Monday. What a special time of year it is as well. We love bringing it to you across BBC Radio and television. And so much British interest this year as well. You won't miss a thing. Sophie Eccleston then is going to bowl her 3rd over, the final over of the innings, with Mandana on strike, and she gets a juicy full toss. Clobbered down the ground and a 1-bounce ball. Eccleston, who's bowled 2 overs, none for 31, has now bowled 2.1, none for 35.
Yeah, not a great delivery that from Sophie Eccleston. You can see she's got a little bit of a smile on her face. She's probably fake it till you make it with that one, Eccleston.
Not a great ball.
I would love mid-off's got to go out or extra cover.
Eccleston to Mandana, who again goes hard at that. In the air, could be a chance of a catch, and it should be, and it is. The England captain, Nat Sciver-Brunt, running round from extra cover, takes the catch. Mandana's brilliant innings comes to an end in the final over of the 20. She goes for 112, but not before she has put such damage to the confidence of this England bowling lineup. Big hopes for Sophie Eccleston, who gets her first wicket since her return to the side. But Mandana has stolen the show at Trent Bridge. What an innings. India 202 for 5, and the stand-in captain Smriti Mandana heads off the field, having faced 62 deliveries, waves her bat now, walks away from the scene, having scored a brilliant 112.
Exceptional knock. Exceptional from Mandana. And just the way she's played today, feel like a little bit unlucky to get out in the way that she did, because the way that she's been able to manipulate the field has been absolutely outstanding. And the ball, left arm around the wicket, going across her. She's looking to give herself room, go inside out, up and over extra cover, doesn't quite get hold of it, and Nat Sciver-Brunt takes a pretty simple catch for her standards. And Eccleston back into this England team, gets a wicket, will be able to just breathe ever so slightly more. It's a bit of a sigh of relief, but Mandana, at least she's got 4 balls to go and put her feet up before she's got to go and captain the side.
It's been a brilliant innings. Deepti Sharma, left-hander, with 4 balls left of this innings, is going to be facing Sophie Eccleston, who bowls a quick ball round the wicket, and it's pulled away out towards the deep, down towards Lauren Filer, who fields in the sunshine below us. 1 run taken. Deepti Sharma, whose last contribution in that ODI series against England a couple of years ago was a rout at the non-striker's end of Charlie Dean, which caused consternation. 203 for 5. Midway through the 20th over. We're going to see Eccleston bowl over the wicket to the right-handed Kaur. He's 2 from 2. Comes forward and slashes the ball away in the air. Oh, and put down. Alice Capsey's feet didn't quite seem to get moving, and that's another opportunity missed, and I think possibly one that she could have done a little bit better with at mid-off. 204 for 5.
Yeah, just gets herself in a little bit of a tangle there. It's well bowled by Eccleston, and Kaur looking to go up and over that mid-off region, doesn't quite get hold of it. It just, Alice Capsey going one-handed, just another drop catch, and England haven't fielded to the highest of standards today, if we're going to be completely honest.
2 balls left of the innings, 204 for 5. Eccleston is looking just a little more confident out there, directing those fielders. A bit more that imposing figure that we're used to seeing. As we see Sharma 1 from 1. England are going to have to chase the second highest total they've ever chased at home in a T20 international. As Sharma sweeps hard at that, beats the fielder on the leg side. That's not a great ball. And Deepti Sharma picks up 4 runs. India move to 208 for 5. 1 ball left of the innings.
Now there's a slight change in the field between the last ball she bowled at Deepti Sharma and then this one. The deep fine leg comes up to short fine leg and then still to the left-hander. She's around the wicket. There's no margin for error. It's short, it's down the leg side and it's swept past short fine leg for 4.
Deepti Sharma on 5. Here comes Eccleston. Final ball of the innings, mistimed, into the leg side it goes. They're going to run through for 1. They'll turn for the second. They'll push for that second and get 2 runs as well. And as the throw comes in, what an innings it has been for India. 112 scored by Smriti Mandhana. At the end of 20 overs, 210 for 5 is the total, Alistair Bruce Balls. What a performance it's been from India. They've come into this series off the back of 2 defeats against England development sides. But today they have dominated. And this England team, led by Charlotte Edwards and Nat Sivabrant, have faced a real battering. It has been some performance, it really has. I have to say, the pressure that has been put on them by Smriti Mandhana has been something else, and they're going to require the second highest successful chase in the history of women's T20 internationals, which tells its own story. Thank you, Hypercourse. Alex Hartley, what do you make of all that?
Yeah, look, there's a stark difference, isn't there, between playing the West Indies and playing India. We said it at the start of the game. We said that West Indies didn't have their strongest 11 out. They didn't have their second best strongest 11 out. India have come out here with their strongest 11. They've got a wealth of people to pick from. They've got the WPL, they've got teams, they've got players performing all year round. And my word, have they come out today. And yes, the standing captain Mandhana's, massive contribution to that of 112 of 62. But then everybody else was batted around her. Harleen Diol, 43 off 20 odd balls was, perfect for the way that she needed to bat out there with the skipper.
So India have made 210 for 5, asked to bat first by England and their captain Nat Sivabrant. Both sides wanted to have a bowl, but it'll be India at the halfway stage, by far the happier of the two sides. Smriti Mandhana, 112 of 62, her first T20 international 100. The contribution of Harleen Diol, a valuable one, 43 of 23. And the pressure kept on going, really. It was only Shafali Verma at the top of the order and Jemima Rodrigues that failed to have a strike rate in 3 figures, and Rodrigues was out second ball, so you can't really necessarily accuse too much towards her in that regard. But a brilliant knock for India, 210 for 5 with the ball. England saw Lauren Bell excelling, 3 for 27 from her 4 overs. Emma Arlott was a little expensive, everyone was really, but Sophie Eccleston back in the side. 3 overs, 1 for 43, going at an economy rate of 14.3. Well, really uncharted territory for someone widely acknowledged as the world's best. The countdown is on as I hand to Melissa Story for the start of England's run chase. 211 the target.
If anything, Henry, I think it's an improvement. So it's very dashing. Well, here we go then. Asphia Dunkley on strike. First ball gets a bit of width and guides it through the covers. Away for 4 runs. Amanjot Kaur was full wide. Exactly what England were hoping for. 4 without loss. And I'm rejoined by Catherine Sivabrant.
Hello. That was a nice little start, wasn't it?
Well, we spoke about the need to get that boundary early on and put pressure on India's somewhat inexperienced bowling lineup, particularly in the seam department. We know this is a good pitch. She's got a deep square and a deep mid-wicket. It's Amanjot Kaur. Is this one full on the pads of Dunkley? She flicks it square of the wicket. Sweeper collects, and it's a single, 5 without loss.
Yes, the pitch is carrying on as it did in the first innings. Not much movement in the air there with the new ball. So Amanjot, she bowls obviously medium pace, and if anyone's able to swing it, will be her. I've seen a little bit of her in the WPL. I actually quite like her. She's got a bit of a personality like me. She's a bit what we call Raj. What's the other word for that? Nuts? Crazy?
I love it. I love a crazy
competitor.
A crazy fast bowler is a great combination. She bowls a shorter ball, and it goes over the head of Danny White-Hodge and backed comfortably and signalled wide by Jackie Williams, the umpire. That square leg. Run to the total, 6 without loss. She's a very small figure out there, not your usual looking fast bowler, but
can still run in and bosh a bouncer in this, just like that.
That's the most terrifying thing about it.
Yeah.
As White-Hodge on strike. Facing up to court. And defending back towards the bowler. So halfway through this first over, in England's batting innings, that target of 211. Amanjot caught the bowler after bowling a wide one first up, getting smacked away for 4 runs. She's come back well with these last 2 deliveries.
That was classic Danny though, having a little look. And now, as I said before, her favourite vacant offside area is open, so watch out.
There's Amanjot full on the pads. And they run through for a quick single throw into the striker's end as Sophia Dunkley rounds her back comfortably in the end. I think maybe with a direct hit it could have been close, but they were very alert to the opportunity for that single there were England, and this is what they need to be in such a large run chase. Proactive, looking for runs everywhere they can, because India will be buzzing around out there with plenty of runs to defend. Sophia Dunkley back on strike. 2 out on the leg side. Amanjot caught. Back of a length, pulled away. Fielder with a bit of work to do. Gets her hands to it. Slight fumble as England come back for 2 runs. Total to 9 without loss now. 1 ball left in this first over. And already England showing some kind of intent that India didn't with their running between the wickets.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just do that naturally, especially these 2 whippets. They're both very quick, both fit and agile, and I think we understand 11 and over. You cannot let that get on top of you, and you must have a good power play.
Amanjot caught outside the off stump. It's been edged and caught wonderfully by Risha Ghosh. The Indian players run up to hug her, to celebrate. They know that's a big wicket as well. Sophia Dunkley can be destructive at the top of the order, just chasing that wide one, and really was a superb bit of keeping. India, they get their first wicket, and England 9 for 1 after the first over.
Yeah, before I criticise, I'm going to have a little look at this one again, because naturally in my head I'm like short and wide, missed out, but I want to see the length of it and if there's any movement. So yeah, it was a decent length, because Sophia didn't know whether to go forward or back, so she didn't commit to one or the other. She pressed forward and then was half back, if you know what I mean, but still it was width. You're always going to expect a bowler to give you one or the other, either a good length or a good line, so she got one, but still she should have taken care of that. Is the bowler's not bowling express pace, and that's what can happen on a flat pitch. If you can get somebody out in their first 5-10 balls, you'll get them out. Generally on a flat pitch, if you don't get them out before that, you're in trouble.
That's when they're settling in and going, I think I can get some big runs here today.
And we know Natsima Brunt comes to the crease here. We know she will give herself 5-10 balls, so she might be her low strike rate, but we know that she can do some damage the longer she stays in. So Danny's going to be the aggressor that won't have a look, and Natalie will be the one to catch up.
Sophia Dunkley then dismissed for 7 off 4 balls as Deepti Sharma is in with a leading edge and a wicket. Danny White-Hodge now. She's got her caught at short third. Just went back, a leading edge, ballooned up the simplest of catches. And England are 9 for 2, chasing a target of 211. They still need 202 more runs. And that is Danny Wyatt's 3rd T20 duck in a row. considering in that West Indies series earlier on this summer. She's been in fantastic form in the T20 Blast, the leading run scorer, 372 runs. She would have been eyeing up this pitch and just going, how good will this be to bat on?
Yeah, look, I feel physically sick for her because I love Danny Wyatt to pieces, and that's just bad luck follows you around, right? She's gone away from this environment, a place where you can relax, and it's been brilliant for her. We've seen the old Danny Wyatt Hodge, but T20 cricket is you know, it's never yours, it's anyone's, and anything can happen at any point. The only thing I would say there that made her come undone is the fact that she went against her natural grain of things. The natural grain of things for Danny Wyatt, she would run down, smack that back over head for one bounce 4-6, or where she hits into out over extra cover. So going, you know, picking it around.
Deepti Sharma into Tammy Beaumont, who drops the ball into the onside, plays around that front pad and gets off the mark immediately. Tammy Beaumont, of course, who we're used to seeing at the top of the order for England in one-day internationals, batting at 4 now in the absence of Heather Knight, who's injured at the moment, so out of the England side, the previous England captain. But Tammy Beaumont now coming in the second over, almost occupying an opener's spot. It's Deepti Sharma into Nat Siva-Brunt now, facing her first ball. She pulls it out towards deep mid-wicket, run the first one hard, throw comes into the keeper's end, and Siva-Brunt comfortably back. These two will be quick between the wickets as England progress to 12 for 2 in the second over.
This is a great opportunity for Tammy. She's obviously scored a double 100 here. It's a flat wicket. This is a great opportunity for her to go, I can fill that spot. I've got the experience. You know, I've got the shots.
Deepti Sharma this time bowls advancing down the pitch as Siva-Brunt, beautifully struck over mid-off and away for 4 runs. 6 off 2 she moves to. England 16 for 2, and exactly the shot, as you said, that probably Danny Wyatt Hodge should have played. And you almost wonder whether those, as you say, she's done well domestically, Danny Wyatt Hodge, but the nerves of coming back in made her almost prioritise nudging it into the onside for a single rather than playing into her strengths. But Siva-Brunt, well, she's playing into her strengths here as she slaps the ball but picks out cover. That was flying. And Deepti Sharma, they're lucky to get away with that one as it was wide. Siva-Brunt with a smile on her face, knowing that she would have wanted to punish that one.
Myself and Alex will probably agree with me here, is that cricket's 75% in your head.
Deepti Sharma fuller on the pads, clipped out towards deep mid-wicket and fielded by Arundhati Reddy. Single to the score means that after 2 overs, England 17 for 2, requiring a further 194 runs off 18 overs.
Yeah, if you're brave and you're confident in your own ability, you can be the best version of yourself. If you're not, if you go internal or you've got that little bit of fear, you can do things and you walk back and you'll be like, why did I just do that?
And cricket's almost the most brutal in that sense.
And so T20's the worst form of it.
You travel around so far, you do hours worth of prep and it can all be over in a few balls.
And you're like, why did I try and nudge it into the leg side, which is not my shot, chasing 11s, when all I normally do is bop it over the top.
Then comes core to continue, full on the pads, timed nicely by Siva-Brunt. The fielder at deep mid-wicket does get round, but a slight fumble allows England comfortably back for 2 runs. Score to 19 for 2. And I must say here, I'm not jinxing anything, but Siva-Brunt is looking good out there.
Stop it. She's stop it. I'm not jinxing it, but I'll jinx it. I'm not watching this ball. That's your fault. You take over for 1 ball.
I was worried I was going to get thumped then. As in comes Core, and it's straight onto the pads, flicked away down to fine leg for a lovely single, which definitely wasn't a wicket. And then there we go, the curse is broken. 19 for 2.
Listen, I'm not
20 for 2.
I'm not physically aggressive, just emotionally. Sorry, that's probably the worst kind.
Don't worry, I won't hit you, but I will emotionally manipulate
But I will
you.
make you cry. Oh, no, those days are gone. With 19 years, I only got Raj a handful of times. The rest of it was normal amounts of Raj.
Well, we had some of the great battles between yourself and Shafali Verma. Pulled away by Beaumont. Fielder does well at deep backward square, keeps that down to a single. It's really nice work from the Indian fielders who are buzzing around here. 21 for 2, halfway through this third over.
And you wouldn't want me any other way, would you? Because now look at everyone, they're boring. Where's the entertainment coming from? There's no one, getting in anyone's face saying have a bit of that. Where's it gone?
Caught bowling to Siva Brunt, advancing down the pitch and smacking it over the head of mid-on. Glorious stroke. 4 runs and England to 25 for 2. Siva Brunt, 14 off 7.
Yeah, and we've lost Danny Wyatt-Hodge and we've lost Sophia Dunkley, and this is now, so obviously we're used to seeing Nat, aren't we? Just take her time a little bit more, maybe nudge it around 1s, 2s until she gets to a certain point, but she's had to assume the position of one of those two, and we've lost them both so quickly that these two have to now take on that role.
Caught in now. Slower ball, pulled away. Lots of work for the fielder on the boundary, who gets a hand to it, but it just dribbles towards the boundary cushion. I think the umpires there might want to check that one, or has Harleen Deal done all right?
I'm confident that's okay.
She recovered. It could have been very embarrassing.
It was a slow scramble to get it back. She almost gave up a bit. She's looking at it thinking, oh. But she's very good fielder, Deal. She's definitely on some highlight packages for catches that I've seen in the past, so yeah.
Well, she's already covered so much ground there on the boundary to our left.
She might have face planted the pad, actually. I don't think she has.
Well, I always think that I'm worried about the ponytail going and touching the cushion.
That shouldn't be allowed.
Because you can't control it.
No.
You can't control where your hair goes.
No.
It's Amanjot, a bouncer, pulled away, and this time Harleen Deol can't cut it off. She's quick across the outfield, but not as quick as the timing. But Nat Siva Brunt swatted away that ball, just swivelling on the spot. And 3 overs have gone, and England, well, they're up there with the required run rate. They're 31 for 2, but they have lost those 2 wickets of Sophia Dunkley for 7 and Danny Wyatt-Hodge for a duck. It's funny you said about we need some fiery characters in the game. You see that obviously Jayden Seales, he was fined for giving Pat Cummins a bit of a send-off in that Test series between Australia's men and the West Indies. As soon as I read that news, I was like,
you know,
who would find that boring?
As long as the send-off is, within a certain parameter, surely, I can't tell you how many times I've been in the dressing room for not the dressing room, the umpire's room, for just getting in someone's grid. But what's wrong with that? I didn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? I could have happily punched them square in the face and been in more than just the umpire's.
I think you might have been in the, maybe in court, but
no, guys,
it was always
low level, just
you can always do a little point to the changing room.
Everybody loves a bit of banter, a bit of argy-bargy.
Sri Sharani on debut for India with her slow left arm spin. First ball beats the blade of Tammy Beaumont, goes through to Ghosh behind the stumps.
Yeah, she's just having a little look at this left arm. It's, Tammy's been away from it a while, wouldn't have faced this. Just having a little look. Maybe she might even hand the job over to Natalie at this point and just try and work that one. She's looking around the leg side, seeing what's available. Behind square is open.
Sharani cuts through the umpire and a thick edge, falls just short of short third. Almost a dismissal similar to that of Danny Wyatt-Hodge. The bowler, just 20 years of age, mentioned on debut for India. I want to get her name on the scorecard as Beaumont advances, slices the ball towards point. Fielder parrying it almost to extra cover in the end, allows England through for a single. 32 for 2, 179 more runs required.
Yeah, I like the look of this bowler. She's canny, she's got good pace, she's holding the stumps in play, making Tammy try and cut a good length ball there. Neither of those were short, so hence she played them not very well, but Nat is on to length slightly better than that.
Sharani back of the length and pulled towards mid-on. Misfield from the fielder there. Single to the total, 33 for 2.
Amanjot there, she just, I think the ball was hit at her quite hard. She went down into a long barrier, but she was wanting to make sure that that was only a 1. The others thinking there could have been a run out.
This time straighter, and Beaumont looking to open up the leg side. Just gets herself into a bit of an awkward position in the end, and we see her rehearsing the sweep shot she she would have wanted to play.
This is a free hit now. There's 1 ball left of the over. She's only gone for 2. She must try and chase a boundary here.
Great start from the debutante, as this one stepping away, cutting it past point, and that'll be the boundary for England they desperately needed. They can't afford to have a boundaryless over at this stage when they're chasing this many runs. 174 more runs required. 4 overs gone, they're 37 for 2, but a good first over from Sri Charani on her debut.
Yeah, even going for 6 on this pitch, that's a great effort. And like I said, I like the look of that whole over. I can see why she's in this squad. And bless Tammy, like, she hasn't faced much before. There won't be much data on it either, and she's having to adapt quite quickly. But yeah, I wouldn't. If she needs, I'm so glad she kept her cool there, because there's no need just yet. She's still got time. Someone quality as her, she gets in, can also be very damaging. Playing for the Rockets, I learnt that against Welsh Fire when she got a ton. So we all know what she's capable of. It's whether or not, my point about this all being 75% in your head, whether that gets on the occasion of it will get up to her or not. But she's definitely someone who is up for a fight.
Arundhati Reddy with the ball in hand. From the Stuart Broad end, bowls full and driven wide of mid-off. Siva Brunt, pure timing. Just makes the most of a half volley first up. England 41 for 2.
Yeah, she said last night she was looking forward to facing Reddy today, and her teammate at Mumbai Indians, Amanjot. So she'll be looking to tuck into this, I imagine.
She's not the quickest, Arundhati Reddy. So we'll have to adapt to this pitch as she bowls down the leg side. It goes past Rika Ghosh. Fielder in pursuit, will haul it in. Good work from Sri Charani. Although England come back for 3. So the score moves on to 44 for 2.
I don't think anybody wants to be running 3s in this heat. Just boundaries, please.
You'll be egging the ball on, just saying,
yeah,
please, come on.
I'm so glad they ran 3 though, because sometimes when it goes past on a quick outfield like this, you tend to not run fast. You think it's gone, but it's a good effort.
Reddy, 4th stump, and driven to extra cover. It's a better area from her second seamer in India's lineup today, and as we mentioned, hasn't quite got the pace of an Amanjot Kaur, so needs to make sure she finds her areas quickly here. England 44 for 2.
It is a bit of a random seam selection for me with India, because I could tell you 5 other seamers I thought would get a go.
Reddy outside the off stump, dragged by Beaumont, and picks out the one fielder on the boundary on the leg side. So it would just be a single. 45 for 2. 166 more runs required.
Yeah, I feel like I can feel Tammy's stress from here. She's like, and you look at the screen, she's taking such big breaths. Like, she knows what this means. She's wanted to get back in this T20 squad for so long. She's finally back in. It's against a big team, and I can almost see it on her face. I just kind of want this little 10 minutes just to get out of the way.
Those early nerves. Reddy over the wicket, back of a length, pulled out to deep mid-wicket by Siva Brunt. Run the first one hard. That's what England have done well from the start, even when they're picking out those fielders on the boundary. Just making sure that if there's the smallest fumble, they can come back for that second run. And so crucial when you're chasing a score over 200. 46 for 2. 1 ball left in this 5th over. As Reddy bowls full, and Beaumont's just gone over the leaping mid-on, who's got a hand to it. Would have been a spectacular catch. In the end, it's 2 runs, 48 for 2, 5 overs gone. Catherine, a few more thoughts from you, and you'll be joined by Henry Moran.
That's exactly where I wanted Tammy to hit it. Both mid-on and mid-off were up, and Reddy normally bowls in that half volley region when she overdoes it, because she's actually very good at bowling Yorkers. So I knew that was on. Tammy, she mistimed that slightly and ended up dragging it almost, but with enough of the middle of the bat to just carry it above the bowler, but above the fielder, but only just. I think there was a palm on that and stopped the boundary. Would you have thought that should have been taken, Henry?
Well, it's all about timing the jump, isn't it? And it's not easy. And Smriti Mandha was out there for a long time batting, 112 off 62.
The calves are not working.
Well, maybe not. 48 for 2 then. England's target is 211, the second highest number of runs conceded by England in a T20 at home. This is slashed away over the offside. That'll bring 4 runs. Nicely played by Nat Sivabrunt, the England captain. Field up inside the circle on the offside, and so just a little step backwards, if you like, for the right-hander, and then just chipping it away over the fielder.
Nat's good mate Hayley Matthews plays this so well, and she's always she's like, Hayley, teach me how you hit through the offside, anywhere on the offside, off the back foot, with such power and clear the ring. So she'll be pretty happy about that one.
50 up for England, 52 for 2, chasing 211. Deepti Sharma with the off spin is bowling to Sivabrunt, and that is crunched down the ground for a 1-bounce ball. Lovely shot, making the most of the fielding restrictions brought about by the power play. 4 balls left of it. England up with the rate thanks to their captain, who's 37 from just 15 balls.
Yes, I think she understands the situation, doesn't she? She's very much she's going to take it all on and keep going. I don't imagine there'll be any let up. Deepti's got to adjust here. She's got to be careful. She might bowl a quicker, flatter one, but that brings back Nat's obvious strength, which is the back foot. So
she's going to come round the wicket, and the sweep is on, with no protection on the boundary, behind square on the leg side. In comes Deepti Sharma, and that's exactly what's attempted by Sivabrunt. Misses out, hits the pads. 56 for 2.
She did the same expression. She went, oh. She knew it was there. It was just so full she couldn't quite get the length that she wanted for it.
A dot ball, valuable. Deepti Sharma bowls, and this is driven towards cover. There'll be no run there. Mandana crouches down, long barrier and fields.
Yeah, that was unlucky. That she, again, the length, she couldn't quite get under the ball, but this will make her bowl down the leg now, and imagine the sweep will come back.
Sivabrunt attempts it, little paddling sort of sweep, and it's collected by the fielder, and there'll be no run. Sri Chirani, so 3 dot balls after a couple of boundaries to kick off this final power play over.
She's sticking with that full, isn't she? All 3 of those balls, that one was Yorker length, the other 2 were pretty much close to it, so hard to get under the ball at this point.
Deepti Sharma, and that's a very loose delivery. It's signalled as wide, and actually Rika Ghosh did a reasonable job behind the stumps of just moving to her left and getting anything behind it. Yeah. And England scrambled through for the extra run in there as well. So Tammy Beaumont will be on strike with a ball left of the 6th over, with England 58 for 2.
Yeah, and as you could see again, that was another attempted Yorker. This time was actually a full toss, only half a foot off the floor, but still, she's very clear plan. Yorker at the toes.
Beaumont waits, comes forward and is bowled. Got in a right old tangle. England are 3 down at the end of the power play, and Tammy Beaumont goes 10 from 11.
Yeah, she's looked so nervous to me, and there I saw the way that she got out in the domestic game the other week, and coming down the wicket and playing massively across the line on that occasion as well, to a ball that kept slightly low. It was at Grace Road, actually. I was watching Blaze. Can't remember who they played now, but it was a very similar dismissal, and Tammy just got herself in a pickle there, like you said, and instead of going straight and almost check driving that straight, she went across the line again, and she's got to go, and unfortunately for her, she didn't get that opportunity to accelerate forward, and 10 from 11 is not what England need at this point, especially within that first 6 overs.
Well, it'll see Amy Jones come to the middle. a player who was in sparkling form against West Indies with back-to-back hundreds, her first in international cricket. In those ODI matches, the England wicketkeeper promoted to open in the 50-over format, comes in at 5 in this side. Now, did you miss our answer to your question as to how many balls were going on to hit the stumps earlier?
Oh, I was asking that, and I didn't know the actual stat, but
we've got the answer.
Yes.
What would you say you'd expect? What would you want?
Well, it seems that 60% is like good, but in my opinion 75% upwards is good.
Okay.
Is international standard
the stumps. That's
for me personally.
Yeah.
If that is your plan, obviously if there's a bigger outfield on one side and you're going wide, you can't, that stat goes out the window. So
Radha Yadav, we're going to see some leg spin from the far end of the ground. The Stuart Broad end with the sheeting up in front of that famous pavilion as some renovation work is done. Radha Yadav flipped into the onside, and that'll be 1 run for Siva Brunt. Okay, so you say 70%.
Well, I think today would have been about 40%, but I should think they should strive for 75.
Overall, number of balls that would have gone in to hit the stumps when England were bowling today, 14.5.
Whoa.
And in terms of the seam bowlers, Catherine, just 4 deliveries in the entire innings. Here comes Yadav, and Amy Jones's first ball is clipped down the ground towards long on for a single. She's up and running with 1. England moved to 60 for 3, chasing 211 early on in the 7th.
That is something. Yeah, I mean, I did see earlier there was a wide plan. Marlott was trying to bowl to that, so there is a portion of that.
And you don't mean bowling wide, you mean bowling a little bit wider. You don't mean intentionally bowling wides.
Oh no, not actual wide.
Yes.
Sorry, wider of the stumps. Yeah, so aiming for that wide line, inside the wide line, making, someone like Smriti get the single.
Siva Brunt across the line will smack the ball up towards wide long on for 1. One thing these two will do well is running together, because they best friends. Amy was maid of honour at your wedding.
Correct.
Good speech.
It was fantastic. It's all on video. She equal parts embarrassing and hilarious.
That's what you should get at that sort of event. Jones, she's going to be stumped, is she? I think she has been, and goes. Amy Jones out for just 1. England falling in a heap. And in the sunshine of Trent Bridge, it is India celebrating, and the honeymoon period very much over for Nat Siva Brunt, the New England captain, and the new head coach Charlotte Edwards. Because England have found ways of getting out, having conceded 210 runs. They are now finding themselves losing wickets regularly. 62 for 4, Amy Jones out for 1.
So Radha Yadav's been out of it a little bit because she's had the yips, but she's come back here and straight away saw Amy advancing and just pulled it back to a good length. She luckily got a little bit of extra bounce, which is the bit that did Amy, and actually hit Risha Ghosh in the chest, but she managed to scramble the ball back and take the stumps before Amy could realise and get back. So it's a great start for somebody who not so long ago had the yips and is back in the squad. We were surprised to see her in the squad, so for good reason. She's back and bowling well, and in form Amy has to go. And like you said that honeymoon period, the thing is, the key, as we all know, if you take 3 wickets inside the first 6 overs, chances are, I think the percentage is you win the game 80% of the time. So
particularly when chasing a massive target like this. Be the second highest successful chase in women's T20 international history. Full toss for Alice Capsey, the new batter for England, right-handed. She'll get 1. She wants a second. There is not a second there, and it'll just be the singles. So England 63 for 4. Radha Yadav in the sunglasses, tweaking the ball from one hand to the other, round the wicket into bowl to Siva Brunt, who's going to get a run there into the offside. As she know, Deepti Sharma does very well at backward point to stop it, and gets a low 5 from Shefali Verma, and then running around to offer her thoughts is Sneha Rana.
This is the power of taking a wicket, isn't it? One after the other. Is now Nat's gone from free flowing to being stunted somewhat, and probably feeling the pressure again now.
Sweep attempted, missed, and one of the more optimistic appeals for LBW from Radha Yadav. Umpire Middlebrook uninterested by that. There's the trees in the distance that are all around this ground, buffeted by the breeze. It is quite a stiff breeze. 7 overs gone, 63 for 4, the required rate 11.4 and over. Are you getting out of here? You are, Catherine Sivabrunt. Thank you very much indeed for the time being. India at this point, by the way, was 66 without loss. England are 63 for 4. Alex Hartley, World Cup winner in 2017. Your notepad is always filled with fascinating different colours and information and stats. What have you got?
I've got not much written in today, to be honest. I obviously did England's misfields, which I had as 10 misfields. I said just 4 balls hitting the stumps from the seamers, Beaumont batting 4, Eccleston back in, Mandy 100 off 51 balls, no harm in hand injuries, she'll be right.
Mandy being Smriti Mandana.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Called her Mandy when I played with her.
So, Sneh Rana back in the side for this India team, recalled after a period of absence. It's her 26th T20 international. She's a good player, good operator, the off spinner. Ties back her headband.
But what we do know is this surface is a good surface to bat on.
There's a chance for Alice Capsey to get in and make big runs. Deep in the crease, she's going to flash the ball behind square towards Shafali Verma. And if there's one thing, as the single is saved, that I'm really noticing about this India team, fielding's outstanding, and it's a real marked difference. And you put it down to the Women's Premier League and the increase in professionalism.
Yeah.
It's what you always see when the professionalism comes. Fielding's the really noticeable part of it. Sneh Rana bowls a ball which sees Capsey deep in the crease, clipping into the onside, sprinting hard for the first run, turning for the second. She calls that second. Throw comes in, could be a run out. I think Capsey's okay. It was Sivabrunt that was running to the danger end. They might have a look at this. I think maybe not. Umpire Middlebrook doesn't look overly persuaded that it's necessary, but it was a bold decision to take that second run from Capsey.
She knew though, didn't she? She knew she could make it. She almost went into a 6th gear. Got the hot heels on, ran down the other end. She was quick there with Alice Capsey.
It's good running.
She was in by a mile as well in the end.
Sneh Rana, the long sleeves, the blue of India with the orange trim. Bowls a ball that Capsey will nudge into the onside again, looking for a second. Won't be one there. It goes straight to the hands of Amajot Kaur. And so it is just the 1 run. England chasing 211. It's a mighty total, and if you want to see the highlights of the game, BBC Sport website and app, or available in the iPlayer and red button later on today. Here comes Sneh Rana again, 4th ball of her first over. It's a full delivery, clipped off the toes by Sivabrunt, out towards that fielder who's busy in the deep over to our right. Out towards that road where a green bus just pops between the 2 stands. And there is, I always look out for it, because I know it was always Henry Blofeld's thing, the buses. That's what he always loved to see. Sneh Rana pauses, starts again.
No, people go like plane spotting and train spotting. He was a bus spotting man, wasn't
Well,
he?
you always liked seeing the buses from the various vantage points around English cricket. In comes Sneh Rana, and 1 run will be taken. Could be a second, should be a second, and well, there was probably 2 there. Throw comes in, hits the stumps. Brilliant work off her own bowling from Sneh Rana, knocking back middle stump at the non-striker's end, and maybe it was a good decision not to push for the second run. As we see the England score 68 for 4, chasing 211. But it was always down the Bridgeford Road he'd like to see the buses, and the year he retired, Blowers, 2017. We got a message from Nottingham City Council saying it might be worth getting Blowers along to come and see a bus up close and personal. So we went along with the cameras, and Blowers marched out of the ground, and they'd named one after him.
Oh.
And I always look out for it whenever we're lucky enough to be here.
Bet you've never seen it.
I've not, and I saw one today that I thought was probably the right one, because it was 2017, it was doing that route, it was the green I remembered. No dice.
No dice.
I know. But look out for it if you're in the Nottingham area.
That's good having a bus named after you, isn't
yeah,
it?
and if you want to get off, you just press the button and give it a dear old ding.
You have to press it a few times so you won't hear it first.
68 for 4, Alex. Sivabrunt's on 40. England are chasing 211. 1 ball left of the 8th over. Wind blowing, sun shining. Lovely scene in front of us as Sneh Rana is in with a ball onto the toes again, and that is on the money from the India off spinner. And it's a good over as well from Sneh Rana with just 6 singles from it. 8 gone, 69 for 4, and England face a massive task.
So you were talking about how my notebook is like colour coordinated.
Yes.
Well, I've decided to go colour coordinated because if I flip you back to the South Africa series pre-Christmas, it's all one colour, it's all blue, it's all just messy. There's no importance to any of my notes if they're not in red. Whereas now I've got blue, red, black and green.
You've got one of those fancy pens.
Yeah, 4-in-1.
Yeah, I was always jealous at school.
Me too. Well, I thought it's like now being an adult, you can literally get what you want when you want. So like Thursday afternoon, if you fancy a birthday cake, you can just go and get one. Well, I wanted one of these pens, so I just...
Do you ever do that?
Yeah, I want a cake. Of course I do.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I'm shackled by the conventions of what's the done thing.
I'm going to bring you on in next week.
Shirani with the left arm spin as on debut sees the ball whipped away out into the onside. There's not going to be a second run there, and again India's fielding is good out in front of the Fox Road stand. The work from Jemima Rodrigues is effective. England 70 for 4.
There is one thing as a child that you take for granted though, what adults do, and like when you're growing up, one thing, and this is the one thing.
Go on.
To decide what you want for your tea every day for the rest of your life.
Shirani in again. Bowls to Capsey, who slashes the ball in the air straight to the hands of short third. It's a loose shot and not the first in this England innings. They're 5 down. And it's a wicket for Chirani on debut. Sri Chirani gets a wicket. The catch taken by Arundhati Reddy. And India have looked an elite unit in this game, and England fielding mistakes, massive runs conceded, loose dismissals, have been all over the shop, and I don't say that lightly. They've been poor in this game. They're 5 down, 70 for 5.
India have definitely been on top, haven't they? Smriti Mandhana, the standing captain, has set the tone. England have gone with bowlers. They decided Emala at number 7, hopefully they won't need her. If they lose 5 or 6 wickets, they just haven't performed well. They're 70 for 5 in the 9th over of this game, and we've spoken over the last year or so how England cope under pressure, those pressure moments. Well, they weren't put under pressure at all against the West Indies. It was a breeze, a walk in the park. Everything went their way. They've been put under pressure in this game, and you can tell.
Is there a element of good news in the fact that they're learning early? And
absolutely, to be put under pressure. If India could play like this for 5 games, England would come out of this series a much better team than when they started.
Well, Emala to the crease will drive the ball into the ground straight towards Smriti Mandhana, the standing captain, centurion earlier on today, her first T20 international 100. There's no run. 70 for 5, England chasing 211. And in comes Chirani in the headband. And half an appeal for LBW, more so from the bowler than anyone else. And this left arm spinner, who's quite a useful operator, the 20-year-old.
But I think what will happen is England will up their standards in the next game, and India will slightly lower them. We'll find ourselves in the middle.
Chirani bowls, pushed into the offside, no run there, and this is quickly getting out of the realms of not just in terms of wickets that have fallen, but also runs required, away from England in terms of what is realistic. I think the required rate growing all of the time. Final ball of the 9th over, and Arlott will tap down the ground for 1. Sivabrunt, the captain, desperate to turn it into 2, so she'll keep the strike. She can't do so. And so at the end of the over, England 9 gone, 71 for 5, having seen 4 single-figure scores. Dunkley for 7, Wyatt Hodge without scoring, Jones for 1, Capsey for 5, and for Danny Wyatt Hodge, a 3rd T20 duck in a row.
Yeah, for England, 3rd T20 international duck. She got Let's have a look, shall we? Because I've got my notebook. First bowler bowled James against the West Indies in the second game, second T20 at Hove, and again bowled first ball James at Chelmsford in the third T20.
Sneh Rana is going to bowl her off spin from the Radcliffe Road end, and bowls a delivery that will see Arlott rocking back deep in the crease to pick up one down the ground and bring Nat Sivabrunt onto strike. She's got 42 and England 72 for 5 with the required rate per over of almost 13.
How many times have we seen Nat Sivabrunt carry this England team though? 2023 Women's Ashes. I don't think we spoke about it enough.
Sivabrunt waiting, smacking the ball towards the bowler, who tries to parry onto the stumps at the non-striker's end, but gets too much on it actually. And there's no run.
Pretty sure she got 2 back-to-back ODI centuries, didn't she?
She was outstanding.
She was brilliant. She is brilliant.
Sneh Rana once again comes in and stepping across the stumps and sweeping hard out towards backward square leg for one. When was the last boundary, Alex? Feels a long time ago. 73 for 5 is the score. The last boundary was early on in the 6th over. 73 for 5 the score. Arlott on 2. Waiting and getting a ball again that she clubs down the ground from deep in the crease. Capable batter, but not one that you'd necessarily want to have to be involved in a partnership with still 130 odd runs required, Alex. Sivabrunt on 43 is the sort of player you'd want in this situation. But even for her, this is a tall order. She comes forward, it's in the air, just clearing the infield. It'll go out over cover and it'll reach the boundary as well. So there we are, at long last, a boundary is struck by England with 1 ball left now of the 10th over. Sivabrunt moves to 47, England 78 for 5.
I would like to see that on the replay. I don't think that was far away from Smriti Mandana. No, she's gone over her head. Just watched it go over her head, and then as the ball hits the boundary, she hits her hands together because she's like, I reckon I probably could have made an effort with that one.
Rana bowls to Sivabrunt, this time hit along the ground but into the hands of Mandana. And the score after 10 overs, as drinks will come onto the field, is England 78 for 5, chasing 211 runs. Arlott and Sivabrunt come together for a conversation. India well on top and on course for winning this first of 5 T20 internationals. You're listening to 5 Live Sport and Sports Extra 2. And we can head to Eastbourne for a tennis update from Maz Faruqi.
And midway through the first set of the men's final here, we've had a couple of breaks of serve in this all-American final between last year's winner and the top seed Taylor Fritz and Jenson Brooksby, the lucky loser who navigated his way through the rounds to this final. The mist has come in here at Eastbourne, but happily the wind is less of a factor for these players. Fritz served first, so he leads by 4 games to 3.
Thank you very much indeed, Maz. We'll be back there to bring updates through the course of the afternoon. 78 for 5 is the England total after 10 overs. At this point in their innings, by the way, India were 98 for 1. Smriti Mandana scoring 112 in her innings from just 62 deliveries. It has not gone to plan for England so far, and it's going to be the first defeat. At this stage, it looks that way in any case, for an England senior side across the summer. 14 played, 14 won. The England men's test side continuing their series against India from Wednesday, 10:25. Wednesday morning, BBC Sounds 5 Sports Extra with Today at the Test. Every evening as well from 7 p.m. and Wednesday it'll be on BBC 4. So loads of cricket to look forward to. So much to enjoy. Not for England's women at the moment. Alex Hartley, World Cup winner 2017. Is going to be joined for the next few overs by Melissa Story.
And there's a right ugly mug presenting the highlights this week from Edgbaston as well.
Let's not put people off, Alex. Come on.
Yeah, well, I'm allowed to say it because it's me.
You got all the outfits planned?
No, I haven't, because it wasn't until today I realised that it was the telly. I haven't been shopping for a while, unless I can wear joggers and a hoodie. To which I think you shouldn't have to wear a suit and tie for Test match cricket. So I might bring a little bit of casual and a little bit of streetwear to the BBC.
I like that. I think you should maybe try that maybe in the Lord's Pavilion as well. See how that goes down.
Yeah, I've been kicked out of there if you're not allowed in there because of my footwear every now and then. But I got in because I took my shoes off. So anyway, but that's for a different day.
I actually had the same problem when I went to Lord's because I didn't want to wear heels, so I wore trainers with my formal dress and got some very disapproving looks. After the drinks break then, it's pulled away by Arlott for a single out towards deep mid-wicket as Radha Yadav continues into her second over. Figures of 1 for 6 so far. Bowling from the Stuart Broad end into Siva Brunt, who's sweeping nicely but picks out the fielder at deep backward square. Will just be the single. England requiring boundaries. Further 131 runs to win. And a lot resting on the shoulders of England's new captain, Nat Siva Brunt, who's 48 off 30 balls. Arlott with a job to do at the other end, getting her captain back on strike. Faces up though, has a swing and smashes it for 6 into the crowd. Well, Arlott might have been told to rotate the strike, but she's certainly not going to miss out on the chance to hit a few sixes in between. Lovely strike, and England 86 for 5.
She's a big hitter of the ball, Arlott. She's a strong, powerful athlete, and if it's in her slot, she can do that. So the drinks break that's just gone, I'm hoping Charlotte Edwards, Nat Siva Brunt said, play your natural game.
Yadav fuller this time. She clips it off the pads, runs the first one hard as England have found a gap between two fielders. Almost have a bit of a collision there as they run back for the second, the England batters, but good in the end. 88 for 5, 123 runs required. And Arlott, who scored a magnificent century earlier on this year when her team Warwickshire were in a tricky situation, chips this one straight up to extra cover. It's caught by Smriti Mandana. Radha Yadav with a stern face watching Arlott start the slow walk off back to the changing rooms now. And England 6 down, that target of 211, just slipping away from them now, but their captain still out there in the middle.
Radha Yadav looked so incredibly angry with that wicket, and I think it's because she'd been hit for 6 a couple of balls earlier. This time a leading edge, a simple catch, but Yadav, whoa, she was fuming.
That was very much the Virat Kohli school of looking angry.
Yeah, exactly that.
So Arlott goes for 12 off 10 balls. Further 123 runs required. And with Sophie Eccleston strolling out to the middle for England. Didn't quite go her way with the ball earlier. In her return to this England side, bowled 3 overs, picked up 1 wicket but conceded 43 runs. We know what she can do with the bat. She scored a 50 this year for Lancashire in her first game back after injury. Certainly a high pressure situation, but England have to believe with Nat Siva Brunt out there. Just needs that support at the other end. Just been lacking this whole innings. Radha Yadav into Eccleston, who goes back, drops the ball into the offside, sets off for a single, and with a ring field on the offside, can't help but think that was probably the right call from Nat Siva Brunt to send Eccleston back. End of the 11th over, 88 for 6.
Well, that wouldn't have been the greatest way to bring yourself back in the game with the bat for Eccleston. First ball misfield, first ball with the ball 6. First ball with the bat, run yourself out. So luckily Siva Brunt was at the other end there going, whoa, 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 calm down, calm down. India are well and truly on top of this game. They've been outstanding today, and England haven't been at their best.
Well, it's got to that point where the graphics in front of us on the scorecard have swapped from the runs England require to win to the number of wickets India need. So 4 wickets for them to break this unbeaten streak of the England teams this summer. Advancing down the pitch, driving. It was in the air, but squeezed through the gap by Siva Brunt, and she brings up her half century. Raises her bat towards the changing rooms, towards the area of the ground where the family and friends are seated. Not the most elaborate celebration there from Siva Brunt, because she'll know she's still got a job to do out there, but it's her 18th T20 International 50. She faces Deepti Sharma. down the leg side. And called wide by umpire. You got this?
Jackie Wilson. No?
No.
I was so confident then. Jackie Williams.
Yeah, there we go.
I was so confident.
Deepti Sharma in, reverse swept by Siva Brunt, but picks out point. Dot ball.
Do you know when you just always fire blanks about somebody? Like, she's my kryptonite.
I mean, she wrote some great books whilst maintaining her umpiring. Oh, hang on.
No,
Deepti Sharma now went to go bowl that ball. Sophie Eccleston was outside her ground.
Listen to the crowd.
And I think she's maybe just given a bit of a warning there to Eccleston. She bowls this one, using her feet, turns it into a full toss to Siva Brunt. Down towards long off. Just the one. And there's that reminder from Deepti Sharma to not stray out of your crease while she is bowling.
Well. It happened last time at Lord's. India ended up winning the game. She ran out Charlie Dean. It went viral, it went everywhere. The sportsmanship was zero from India, from Deepti Sharma. We thought maybe that'll be the end of it, and she's just given Sophie Eccleston a little bit of a get back in your box, love.
Well, let's watch Nat Siva Brunt now, who goes entirely unmoved until she's released the ball, Deepti Sharma. It's driven down the ground by Sophie Eccleston for a single. 116 more runs required, and as you say,
I'd love it to happen again. Absolutely. Oh my word, imagine the news. She's done it again.
Siva Brunt on strike with a Ringfield on the offside. It's a full toss, and she's swept it off her pads, down away for 4. Easy pickings for the England captain. Moves on to 57. 112 runs now for England. As we said, still possible whilst Nat Siva Brunt is out there. Trying so hard to keep it away from that offside where her field is up. Deepti Sharma just overcompensated there. Eccleston stays in her ground, down the leg side again, signalled wide. And just for those who, as we say, may not have been aware of what happened at Lord's, that fateful day where England needed, what was it, around 20-30 more runs to win. They were down to their final partnership, Freya Davison and Charlie Dean batting. As Deepti Sharma's in, flicked off the pads by Siva Brunt. Finds a gap, they're coming back for 2. Throw comes into the keeper's end, and England captain comfortably back. In fact, they almost go for a 3rd run as the ball hits the stumps. There's a deflection. But the Indian fielders alert to what was going on. 12 gone. England need 109 runs. India need 4 wickets. But as you say, there was that run out of the non-striker's end. It's within the laws of the game. However, it's widely perceived to be an unsporting thing to do in varying camps. It was a big moment of controversy.
They won because of that. Like, was that the final wicket? I can't remember.
Final wicket.
It was the final wicket, wasn't it? It was. I knew it was.
One thing which had been pointed out at the time was that
England were winning.
Harmanpreet Kaur had used up a lot of her bowlers' overs, and India was starting to go into nervous territory.
England were on top. Charlie Dean, Freya Davis, they were going to win. They were going to see England home. Deepti Sharma, I think not today, sunshine.
Eccleston goes back and punches the ball towards extra cover. And Sri Sharani begins her 3rd on debut. Figures of 1 for 8 so far. Comes in now. It's been slog swept in the air. Chance for deep mid-wicket. Takes the catch. Jemima Rodrigues out there on the boundary. Raises her fist to the air. Eccleston goes. And India take their 7th wicket. Just 3 away now. In the first of this 5-match T20 series. India creeping towards victory.
You can see what Eccleston was trying to do there. She slog sweep into the leg side. It's just gone slightly straighter than she would have liked, straight to Jemima Rodrigues, who kisses the ball after she takes a very simple catch. Sophie Eccleston's return to international cricket hasn't quite been the one that we were all expecting. We're all expecting the world's best to be at her best. India, well, been a walk in the park for them today, really.
Lauren Filer will be the new batter for England, who certainly can give it a bit of a whack, but England struggling here. England's captain as well, Nat Siver-Brunt, still out there, 59 off 35 balls. I brought up this scorecard of that day at Lord's, and as you mentioned, at the time the run out at the non-strikers end occurred, Charlie Dean was on 47 off 80 balls. Faye Davis was 10 off 29. And as Lauren Filer prepares to face up to Chirani in defence, back down the pitch. In that game, Julan Goswami had bowled her 10, so had Renuka Singh Thakur, and Rajeshwari Gaikwad had all bowled their 10. So India were running out of options.
They were.
It was certainly one of those moments where you had to be there. This one clipped in the air from Filer, just absolutely lands in no man's land. Exactly probably where a mid-wicket would have been if they had been inside the ring. It will get her a single and off the mark. 108 more runs for England, 3 wickets for India. I still remember the chaos in the Lord's Media Centre as everyone was running round, arguing whether it was the right thing to do or not. Outside the off stump, guided towards point. Siver-Brunt can't pierce that gap.
Which is why I'd love for it to happen again, because I hated it, but it was one of my favourite moments in women's cricket because it just showed how many eyes were on the game.
This time tentatively dropped into the onside by Siver-Brunt. She'll just take the single, retain the strike for the next over. 13 gone, England 104 for 7. 107 more runs required. And great stuff from Sri Chirani so far for India. I mean, I would like it to happen almost at Lord's again.
Yeah.
For that one day game.
For the one day, yeah. Yeah, okay. But that's a long way away.
It is, but you've got to let the natural...
Is that the last one of the series as well?
It's the second one.
Oh.
They're almost trying to stop it from happening again. We'll make it the second last.
Yeah.
But I think having a place where all the media can simultaneously run round panicking or getting angry, it was fantastic. But you've got to get those natural storylines to develop first across the series. Ready, back into the attack with a full toss. It's hammered over her head, but long off. It was already quite straight, cuts it off, and Siver-Brunt takes the single.
I know England are obviously 7 down, and at this point India were not, but it just feels like India found so many more gaps than England have been able to do. Every time there's a full toss that was hammered down the ground, it'd go for 4. England just seemed to be picking out the fielders.
And Dati ready, slower ball, full, and Filer does well to just use her wrists to manoeuvre the ball to deep square. 106 for 7. I've just been reminded by Charlotte Taylor, former Vipers player, that the next day at Lord's there was the Rachel Hayhoe Flint final where Charlie Dean did a fake run out at the non-strikers end,
and there was about 4,000 people on the live stream.
This time steps backwards, does Siver-Brunt, lofts this ball over extra cover, finds the gap, just like you were talking about, Alex. India made it look so easy, but England having to work hard here to identify that boundary option. Siver-Brunt fighting alone here for her England side. 65 off 39. 101 more runs needed for England. It's still a very long way to go.
So many times in her career she has been fighting that lone hand.
Arundhati ready. Over the wicket to Siver-Brunt, and it's a lovely Yorker. Siver-Brunt, who stepped into the onside to open up the covers. She's got herself into a scenario where she can only really jam her bat down on the ball. Really good execution from the Indian seamer. Well, you said earlier that it hasn't been spoken about enough how much Nat Siver-Brunt has carried England in the past, and we think of that 2023 Home Ashes series. Low full toss, spooned up, plugs in the outfield. And Snairana collects at long on. Single to the total. 100 runs to win now for England, 3 wickets for India. I mean, how do England solve that problem? Do you think there is still just too much of a reliance that, oh well, if things go wrong, at least Nat will pick us up?
I think it's just been the same conversations we've had.
Ready outside the off stump. A shout for caught behind. And Lauren Filer, she'll have to go. Chasing that wide one up to the stumps was Rika Ghosh. Filer's shaking her head though as she goes towards her captain.
No, she's shaking her head because she said I've smacked it. There's no point going for a review. I've hit that.
She goes for 2 in the end. England lose their 8th with just 111 runs on the board. Arundhati Reddy with the wicket. Leg cutter delivery, I think. Rolling her wrist over it. She was pleading with the umpire, Jackie Williams. So India now just needing 2 wickets to win this first Vitality IT20. A few people in the crowd just starting to trickle away. Plenty though staying and enjoying the sunshine. It's very warm out there, and there's a few Indian supporters to our left who are going to be very pleased with this performance from their team.
Yeah, but it goes back to the same conversation of just coping under pressure. That's all it is. That's all England needs to do. And look, England will be a better team from the Women's Ashes, from games like today. But there's been a few weak dismissals today, that's for sure.
And actually, Natsiba Brunt responding as expected to many people's concerns that when she was given the captaincy, it would maybe distract her from her own game. She's demonstrated in the West Indies series and in this series, in this game already, that it's not a distraction to her batting at all. But she needs the rest of the team to support her. Outside the off stump, shout for caught behind again, and Rika Ghosh immediately makes the T symbol with her hand. Natsiba Brunt has remained with her legs wide apart in that cut shot position. And India are absolutely convinced here that Sri Chirani has got a 2nd wicket. They've got 2 reviews remaining, India, so they consider they may as well go for it here.
They're convinced, India, here, aren't they? Absolutely convinced. As we see it on the replay, it's wide outside the off stump. Tried to be cut by Siva Brunt, and it is very, very close to the outside edge. I think there's going to be a little schnick on this.
I think I'd probably agree, and you are right. From her reaction, the way she remained in position and the shot she'd played, and almost her shoulders slumped, felt like she knew. She makes the slow walk off. England's captain, one eye on the big screen, just waiting to see that decision confirmed. She'll go for 66. So good innings from the England captain. Battling innings. Really the only person in that England lineup who's put their hand up in this humongous chase. But she'll walk off quite solemnly in the end. There's a slow walk off as well. Lindsay Smith, in fact, Lindsay Smith joined by Lauren Bell. Final 2 batters for England. But they've been entirely blown away by India today. And Sri Chirani with her 3rd wicket on debut. Another really good bit of work from Ghosh behind the stumps there. She's taken an exceptional catch early on to dismiss Sophia Dunkley, and 2 up to the stumps in these last 2 overs. Been a very impressive performance from her.
Yeah, she's been good behind the stumps. Siva Brunt, though, a lone hand, 66. No one else has really contributed for England today.
Chirani into Lauren Bell, who's driving over extra cover. The cheers from the crowd as they run through for the first, and Lindsay Smith comfortably gets back for the second. Well, there we go. Lauren Bell's gone. Why are you making it look so hard?
Up and over extra cover.
Bell, England's number 11, to India's debutant, has another big swipe at this one. Almost sneaks through there. India 1 wicket to win. Ringfield on the offside. Catches out in the deep on the leg side as Bell faces up to Sharani. Tentatively pushes this one into the onside where mid-wicket has just crept in here. You can almost hear Lauren Bell's thinking out there.
Just whack it.
Tall figure in her stance, crouches down, faces up to Chirani. She does go for it. Fielder underneath it, backpedaling, and takes the catch, and India will win this first Vitality T20. Celebrations, they run together. Indian flags in the crowd. And a disappointing performance from England. They've been blown away here by the magnificence of that Smriti Mandana 100 in the first innings, and India just clinical with the ball. It was always going to be too much for England after they lost their openers cheaply. And you would say, Alex Hartley, that India deserve this win by 97 runs.
Yeah, they've been outstanding, haven't they? They've been clinical. The perfect start to the series for India, led by Smriti Mandana with her 112. But to get 210 on the board was never going to be easy for England. They just needed somebody to get set. Siva Brunt did get set, but there was wickets that fell all around her, all throughout the innings. And to have lost by 97 runs, be bowled out in the 15th over, it's not a great start to the series for England.
So if we have a look at that scorecard, mentioned that fantastic 100 from Smriti Mandana, 112 off 62 balls, supported ably by Harleen Deol with 43 off 23. It just meant that the Indian middle order could come in and give it a bit of a whack towards the end. India finishing 110 for 5 off their 20 overs. Lauren Bell, the pick of the bowlers for England, with 3 for 27. Arlott and Sophie Eccleston also picking up a wicket, but for England it was a disastrous start with Sophia Dunkley going in just the very first over, caught behind a brilliant catch from Rika Ghosh, and then Danny White-Hodge, her third duck in a row in T20 internationals, caught at short third off the bowling of Deepti Sharma. Tammy Beaumont had a bit of a partnership with captain Nat Siva Brunt, but was dismissed for 10. Amy Jones stumped for 1. Alice Capsey gone for 5, and then the wickets kept tumbling. Arlott, she gave it a bit of a whack, a giant 6 over mid-wicket in her 12 off 10 balls, but then Sophie Eccleston 1, Lauren Filer 2, Lauren Bell 2, and Lindsay Spiff not out at the end for 0. Nat Siva Brunt, the England captain, with 66 off 42 balls, really that lone resistance for England. Alex, it's England's first defeat of the summer across the men's and the women's sides. I mean, it's impressive we have got to this stage, but that is certainly a performance which the players and the coach will be most likely disappointed in.
Oh, absolutely. It's a hammering, isn't it? First game of the series, and we've got Catherine alongside us. How many times we lost the first game of a series and went on to win a series? It almost just wakes you up a little bit. It's like, whoa, okay, we've really underperformed there. We don't know what's just happened. We've had our pants down, but time to pull them up and go again. And we used to do it all the time. So England, yes, they've just lost by 97 runs, but they're going to have to wake up and go again in a couple of days.
Well, this is in fact England women's heaviest defeat by runs in the T20 International. Their previous worst was a 93-run loss against Australia at Chelmsford in the 2019 Ashes. Thank you, Hypercourse, for that one. You two are going to stay here, but here on 5 Live, we're going to hand back to Alistair Bruce Ball.
Thank you. Yes, just under half an hour to go on 5 Live Sport this evening. A reminder, we've got full commentary of England's under-21s in the European Championship final tonight. Kick-off at 8 o'clock, full commentary here on 5 Live. But I've got Alex Hartley still there, fellow former England international Catherine Siva Brunt as well, to pick through the bones of this one. So India winning that first T20 international by a whopping 97 runs. Alex, you don't want to overreact on one performance. 4 games still to go, and then 3 one-dayers as well. The challenge level has gone up today, so England won well against the West Indies. They really were found wanting today, though. Is that a concern for you?
Look, they've played so well against the West Indies. We know how poor the West Indies are compared to England. This was always going to be a tougher contest. England, for me, are still the better side. They are the better side. They've been beaten heavily today. There's absolutely no doubt about that. They haven't been at their best. I'm not concerned yet until we're 3-0 down after 3 games. Then I will be concerned. But I really think on the back of the Women's Ashes, England will have learnt so many things. You know, there's been a new captain, a new coach. They've had a refresh of the team. Today just wasn't their day.
India did everything better, didn't they, Catherine? I know that's an obvious thing to say after a game like that, but Alex mentioned it in commentary as well. Just really sharp in the field, I thought, compared to England as well today.
Yeah, England were definitely down in all aspects of the game. The fielding, obviously, as we saw, wasn't great. And if you let a team like India have a second chance with a batter like Smriti Mandana or Risha Ghosh, these people will punish you, and they punished us. We didn't have that same luxury. All our players were caught and they had to go, and everybody knows you lose 3 wickets in the power play, you pretty much can just write off the game. But I'm not worried at all. It's a 5-match series, which is rare, which is great. That puts it on a really level playing field, because T20 cricket is cruel, and so there's opportunity for both sides to contend. I think bowling first, in hindsight now, was a bad idea, but I understand the reasoning behind it, because this is very much an Indian-like wicket, from what I've been watching in the WPL, and Lottie put the same basis on this game as they did there, but this is a different. The Mumbai lineup is very different to the England lineup, whereas we've got less experience, I guess, and we chose one less batter. So maybe that decision wasn't right, because I feel like their spinners bowled better on this wicket. They changed their pace better, they hit the stumps more.
Yeah, and you talk about it being a cruel game, Catherine, and it's so exposing, isn't it, at times. So Lauren Bell takes 3 for 27 off 4 overs today, but some of the other figures, and I know that it's a good batting wicket up against a class batting lineup, but Em Arlott 1 for 38 off 4, Lauren Filer 4 overs for 35, Lindsay Smith 3 for 41, and Sophie Eccleston back in the team. A wicket, yes, but 3 overs for 43. How damaging is that just for confidence? Yeah,
well, the shocking thing to that, for me and for everyone, will be that Lindsay Smith and Sophie Eccleston, 2 left-arm spinners, were the most expensive by a long way compared to the other bowlers. They were 13s and 14s economy rates, which is unheard of. When you pick left-arm spinners, you're thinking, we're going to get wickets today. They're wicket takers, leg spinners, wicket takers. So that bit was quite shocking for me. But Sophie's come off the back of a break. She'll be feeling it, feeling the pressure, feeling the anxiety of it all, and that's no doubt quality will bounce back. So I have no doubt in the fact that she will come back and perform better than that. Lindsay Smith, this is her first sort of go against a quality India side in a long time, so she's got a lesson to learn. But that bit for me was the most worrying. But I'm also not worried too, because I do feel like we always bounce back.
Yeah.
Like Alex alluded to, we definitely always lose the first game.
We always have to. I don't know why it is.
India got smashed by our A team, and we've just got smashed by India. This happened in the World Cup, and it's happened again. It's not a shock.
No, I mean, Alex, you mentioned as well there in commentary, though, that we saw it in the Ashes, and sometimes when that pressure is on and the screw is really turned, on this England team, they do struggle to react and cope with it. They've got to learn to do that, obviously, and there's time to do that in this series. But was that another example of it today?
Absolutely. When you're under the pump and someone's in control of you, England have struggled to cope under pressure. They've struggled in Ashes series, they've struggled at World Cups, and they have struggled when they've been under pressure. But I don't necessarily think today is a bad thing. I really don't, because they've been put under pressure. They haven't coped as well as they have previously. They've basically played how we've seen them play in World Cups and Ashes series over the last couple of years, minus 2023. England were outstanding during that series. But it means they're going to learn more from this game and the Women's Ashes than they are from if they just play that series against West Indies every single time they play. So there are a lot of learnings for England to take from today.
Yeah. OK, Alex, Catherine, thank you. It is the first T20 that in a series of 5 games against India. India have won today at Trent Bridge by 97 runs.